Alright, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to start case 4. Last time we finished case 3, where we did get the not guilty verdict for Mr. Magundal. However, it's very evident that he's very guilty. But after the case, someone set fire to the evidence so that we can't reinvestigate the crime. And the intro cutscene showed us absolutely nothing, but I will show it again for consistency's sake. Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
時折僕は思うのだよ、ワトソン。ホームズは物憂げに首を振り言った。我々が目にする事件は本当にそれが全てなのだろうか。その裏側に誰も知るもののない物語が隠れているかもしれない。ハーブティーから立ち上る湯気を追うその夢見るような眼差しの先には、きっとあの雪の日の夕刻の情景が浮かんでいたのだと思う。ブライアーロードの歩道に倒れ伏した若い女性とその背に刺さった狂人。ガス灯の明かりが柔らかく切り取った奇怪な事件現場の情景。不可解な姿なき犯人の事件は薄い霧の中静かに幕を開けたのだった。
Alright, Fort Chief Justice Vortex's office. That is really long. Work out for 3 hours. Well, enjoy. So, I guess we'll find out whether, well, I'm fairly sure we're not being sent back to Japan. But, we'll see if we're recognized as an attorney by now. Naruhodo, did you manage to sleep last night? No, not at all. My, though, that hotel was rather luxurious. The room could have been mistaken for a palace. It was nothing short of dazzling. Gas lamps were as countless as glittering stars, making the night shine brighter than day. And wow, imagine just how much that bed was worth. I tossed and turned all night just to make sure that I made full use of its size. So did I. That was the night of my dreams. Except, when I learned that the lodging cost £3, I realized my nightmare had only just begun. Sorry. The building was so overwhelmingly beautiful, I had wandered in just before I could regain control. Back in Japan, we could have used that same amount for over a year of safe shelter. That sounds quite expensive. When I parted with our dear money, my tears just wouldn't stop flowing. Ugh, really, I'm so sorry. Anyway, we have to find cheap lodging as soon as we possibly can. If we can't do that in 10 days, we're sure to run out of our student allowance. Well, I think it's less of the exchange rate, just the time period, right? In the 1800s, think how much like half a penny was worth in America. So, London is a formidable foe. Thank you for coming in so early. Oh, likewise, sir. Good morning, Lord Chief Justice Vortex. We have arrived today to report on yesterday's trial. Susato can talk to him without flinching. Your composure really is something else. I trust that you've enjoyed your first taste of Great Britain's trials. Yes, sir. In fact, I tasted so much law that I'm downright full of it. Thus, he had done exactly as you ordered, Lord Chief Justice. Yunosuke Naruhodo has carried out his duty to completion. Oh, yes. I have already heard about the events of yesterday's trial. Your defense was remarkable. You pass. Huh? Exchange student from the Empire of Japan. You will now be recognized as an attorney. Even for our country, meeting such promising youth from the Far East is a tremendous delight. Thank you very much, sir. I am now an attorney. And I've prepared a new assignment to test your skills as a fresh young attorney. You should get started on it immediately. Understood? A new assignment? Already? As an attorney, the best way to develop your skills is through experience. I dare not ask, but do you object to your assignment? I don't know how to say this, but I'm still not satisfied with yesterday's verdict. You're not satisfied with it? As I recall, you won a not guilty verdict. What more could you possibly want? As of yet, the court cannot pass a guilty verdict. Therefore, there's no need to leave the verdict to the jurors. Today has been quite rough, eh, Prosecutor Fenzies? For you and for my esteemed barrister as well. Kazune Megundal. Was he truly innocent? That's not the point, right? He's just declared not guilty. Doesn't mean you're innocent. It just means you're not guilty. Naruhodo. Still can't say for sure. But despite that, the trial is already over. You won't have to worry about that anymore. I can assure you. Huh? Whatever do you mean? Kazune Megundal is dead. He died just after the end of the trial. Oh. Was he the one in the coach? What? What? Mr. Megundal is dead? I must depart in 19 minutes and 41 seconds. Until then, I am unable to talk, if but for a while. Megundal's death. What do you mean he's dead? How did Megundal die? At the end of yesterday's trial, chaos erupted in the courtroom. I assume you recall the omnibus that was brought into court. Yeah, it was brought in to be examined as the scene of the crime. That's right. At some point, when the bailiffs weren't looking, it suddenly went up in flames. What? How could they let this happen? We are currently investigating that matter. Furthermore, we discovered Megundal's corpse amongst the coach's burnt remains. What? He must have entered the coach while the bailiffs weren't looking. These bailiffs sound like awful slackers. How could they let this happen? We're currently investigating that as well. That reminds me of something. At the end of the trial, Mr. Megundal said something that bothered me. Well, you heard the man. I must excuse myself now. I will be stuck inspecting the crime scene for a while yet, I am told. What for? It seems that the omnibus will have to undergo another investigation, given the circumstances. They said that they want me to be present for it, if at all possible. Inspect the crime scene, Scotland Yard had no such arrangements made, to my knowledge. Then who did this? I wouldn't worry. The Yard is putting all their investigative mettle to the test here. You can leave the rest to them. There's no need for either of you to pay it any mind. Ishimigundo. By the way, how was your first trial in our crown court? Oh, it was, well, amazing. We were overwhelmed by its noble aura and the dignity born of its venerable, profound history. Our own country's Supreme Court is no match, as it has only been around for decades. Est. Usato really has a way with words when it's time to be eloquent. My friend Naruhodo is so impressed that he's been rendered speechless, as you can see. Our courts are the pinnacle of law. You would do well to learn from them while you still can. The pinnacle, he says. I have to say, though, it was some stroke of fortune that you could take such a simple case for your first trial here. Simple, my lord? As I said yesterday, there's no way you could lose. Excuse my rudeness, my lord, but that case was by no means simple. When we first heard of the details of the case, we felt like we were at such a disadvantage. Even now, I still can't believe that we managed to seize a not guilty verdict. What's the matter? I'm sorry. Excuse me for that. But in the end, the verdict was indeed not guilty. And it was because of your skill as an attorney. You'd say that's all there is to it, right? No, my lord. That's not exactly what I was trying to say. We're not bragging. Regardless, you have exceeded my expectations. I assure you, that is nothing but the truth. That is why I've already arranged a new case for you. What? What exactly was Chief Justice Vortex trying to imply just now? No, I don't like this. What exactly does this new case entail? Don't tell me it's another murder trial that's going to start in 10 minutes. Something. Please, there's no need to worry. The circumstances surrounding this trial are completely different, after all. I see. Is he reading my mind? At the very least, nobody has died yet. And the trial's not today, either. You have ample time to carry out your investigation. To be precise, you have 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds. Okay. The trial is tomorrow, then. Something the matter, Naruhodo? Oh, I was just feeling a little conflicted. I was just wondering if I made the right decision as his attorney during yesterday's trial. Naruhodo. I'm not sure if I'm ready to stand in court again with the way I feel right now. Oh, that reminds me. There's actually one similarity between yesterday and tomorrow. Once again, not a single man is willing to step up to the challenge. What? At this rate, tomorrow's trial will be forced to begin without a defense attorney present. And of course, I'm sure you know, there's nothing at the end of that path except for the worst possible conclusion? Well, that sounds about right. Not again. I'm afraid my time is up. I must excuse myself. I strongly suggest that you too begin preparing for tomorrow immediately. After all, there are a mere 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds left until the trial. I call that ample time not long ago. Oh, one more thing, Master Naruhodo. There is one thing I would like to inquire of you. Sir, what is it? As I recall, yesterday you said thus. You wish to carry on the exchange student Kazuma Asogi's will. I want you to clearly explain what you meant by that. You have 34 seconds. Huh? He'd always talk about how he wanted to study the world's leading justice system and change the laws of the Empire of Japan. He's going to keep his dream alive, though there is another reason. Oh? What might this other reason be? In the steamship's cabin, he said something cryptic to me. There's something I absolutely have to do in Britain, no matter what. What did he absolutely have to do? Again, I want you to tell me in clear terms. I didn't ask him. I was sure that he would tell me when we arrived in Great Britain, so time is up. I'm grateful that you told me such an entertaining story, though. What exactly were you talking about just now, Naruhodo? Kazuma never told me anything like that. The two of you ought to focus on the case at hand. I've already spoken to the inspector leading the investigation. I presume he will give you the details, if you ask. When did he get here? Now, I pray for your good fortune. Yeah, we're probably getting more Van Zeke, because I think he has his own theme. I mean, I said that about Sogi too, and well, we all know what happened to Sogi. But we're probably getting more Van Zeke. What secret was Kazuma keeping from me? What was he planning to do? I don't know. He really didn't tell me. Anyway, maybe we should go speak with the inspector now. Yes, we ought to do just that. I can see a hint of spitefulness in his eyes as he glares at us. Oh, you ready for some racism? He's eating chips, but I feel offended at the way he's eating fries. Excuse me, could I have a moment of your time, sir? Do I look like I have any time to spare? Whoa. Nice weather we're having, huh? Does the weather look nice to you? Whoa. Listen to me, Japanese. Listen real good. Don't go around thinking that any old British gentleman is excited to talk about the weather. That's what Susato told me. I'm very busy right now. More busy than you could ever imagine. While I'm here yelling at you, the investigation is still underway at the crime scene. I'm very sorry. Oh yeah. I'm willing to bet that they're saying all kinds of things behind my back right now. Hey, where's that guy been? Who knows? He acts like such a big shot, he must be slacking. All thanks to some bloody foreign bumpkin who came to London just to frolic and have fun. Can you hear the sound of my policeman's prestige falling? Because I certainly can. I can tell this won't be easy. Greetings, sir. I believe we haven't met. My friend here is Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense attorney. I am his legal assistant. We're both deeply pleased to make your acquaintance today. Oh. I must say, the weather truly is beautiful today. Absolutely. It's not often you get to see such a clear sky during a London winter. Amazingly well done, Susato. Lord Vortex asked me to give you lot details on the case. My name is Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard. Inspector Gregson? Huh? His name got quite a reaction out of her. I wonder if she knows him from somewhere. Inspector? Might you be the same Inspector Gregson as the Inspector Gregson? Susato, do you know this man? Even though he's from London? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? I guess I wouldn't? He's a recurring character in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, are you talking about the Strand magazine again? Inspector Gregson is none other than Sherlock Holmes' rival. Wow, his rival? It's actually pretty impressive. Well, yes, I suppose so. I have to say that Holmes does pretty well himself, for an amateur. Mr. Holmes has spoken very high praise of Inspector Gregson as well. Gregson is the smartest of Scotland Yard. He is the pick of a bad lot, he says. That doesn't sound like much of a compliment to me. Well, Mr. Holmes isn't the type of person to sing praises of others in the first place. That's right. Because of that blasted magazine, I've become famous all the world over. That's a good thing, right? I'll admit, it wasn't so bad at first. Everyone wanted to shake my hand. My reputation at the yard was at an all-time high. That sounds great. However, you must never underestimate how terrifying man can be. Since then, I've always had a feeling that people were staring at me, talking behind my back. Talking behind your back? You had a feeling? He's changed ever since he's appeared in those novels. Look at him, acting like a big shot. Have people really been saying such awful things? Like I said, they do it behind my back, so I can't really make out what they're saying. However, that's the feeling I get. There's doubtlessly no doubt about it. Feels like this inspector is going to be difficult to work with. Yes, it seems that sudden fame comes with its own share of troubles. So, what's the case that the Lord Chief Justice wanted you to talk to us about? Well, if I were to put it simply, this is probably the easiest case that a detective could possibly work with. And are you saying that this is probably the most difficult case that a defense attorney could work with? Ah yes, always hard mode. Always hard mode for the Naruhodo bloodline. I should hope not, but it definitely looks that way. A lady walking along Briar Road, stabbed in the back with a knife. Well, you know, the intro video kind of, I mean, it did show something like that. Fortunately, her life isn't in danger now, but she still remains unconscious at the hospital. Hi, that's terrible. Who would stab a frail woman in the back like that? I'm sure you just perform a Susato toss on them if you found them. That's not important right now. You didn't have to yell. Anyway, we were able to arrest the culprit without wasting too much time on this case. He didn't even have time to enjoy that after-crime tea before we took him in. Then you must have found some trace of the culprit at the crime scene, right? Or maybe there was an especially trustworthy witness testimony? Ah, give it up. It's not worth racking your brains over it. Huh? No matter how you might try, there's no saving this culprit from his fate this time. What do you mean? It's simple. The prosecutor in charge of tomorrow's trial is none other than Lord Eric von Zeeks. What? Seems like you lot already know him. Yes, we are quite familiar with him. He's the one referred to as the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. So we're up against Beric von Zeeks again. Same prosecutor as yesterday. Remember, in the Ace Attorney world, There's only ever one judge and like maybe 2 prosecutors ever per courthouse. If I recall correctly, Mr. Magundal said... For those he prosecutes, they say, the Reaper has come to collect his due. In the court of the Deathringer, not a single defendant has lived. Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. In other words, he's managed to force a guilty verdict on every defendant he's prosecuted, right? Inspector, if that's what you're trying to tell us, what if we were to tell you that Naruhodo won a not guilty verdict against the Reaper? Is that so? Well, what of it? I mean... Even if the enemy is the Reaper himself, there's still a chance that the defendant may survive. You two really don't know a thing. What exactly do you mean then? Well, he ended up dying anyway, didn't he? Oh. Huh? Talking about Cosme Magundal. He was burned up along with the carriage, no? No matter how you look at it, it's hard to call that surviving. Oh. What? If a man could prove every criminal guilty, he'd be considered a god. Beric von Zeeks, he's no god. He's the Grim Reaper. In any case, you do well to keep that in mind. What is going on here? Yeah, the implications are terrifying. Now then, since I've finished eating what I have to eat, and I've said what I have to say, I'll return to the crime scene. We're in the middle of an investigation, after all. The site of the incident is at Briar Road. Would I be correct in saying that? That's right. If you head towards the Gao, you should be able to interview the culprit. You're already calling him the culprit? He's shaking like a leaf in the isolation cell. It's a hilarious sight, I tell you. This number is 53. If he asks the guard for 53, you should be able to interview him. Understood. Thank you very much. No defendant can ever be saved from the Grim Reaper. Is that really true? Naruhodo, what should we do about this case? To be honest, I haven't been able to stop shivering since the trial yesterday. I think that we would have to stand in Crown Court again, facing the Reaper. It still takes courage to admit when a task is too much for you. You don't have to do this. If the man they arrested is innocent, then it's only natural that he'd be shaking like a leaf in that cell. I can't imagine the kind of monster that would just stand and laugh at such a sight. And, to be honest, I can still feel the intense shock from yesterday's trial. I don't know how much I can do, but I think we should have a go at investigating. Will you assist me? Yes, of course. You know that I'd be glad to. After all, I am your legal assistant. Then, shall we? Alright, let's do it. Okay, let's go meet with our client. The backgrounds are really nice. This bike is owned though. So this is Briar Road, the scene of the crime. Did I click on the wrong thing? I must have. Ah, take a look over there, Naruhodo. I'd recognize those uniforms anywhere. There's no mistaking that helmet-like cap. It's Scotland Yard. The Yard's policemen are all conducting their investigation. Well, yeah, that's what policemen do. Of course, they're the Scotland Yard, you know. I've admired them since I saw an illustration of them in The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. Yes, I do love those steel helmets. Huh? Only care about their helmets? Oh, if only I could don that helmet. Don't you just want to try it on? I hope you get to experience that cold metal. It seems like Inspector Gregson isn't around. Anyway, we should secretly investigate the crime scene. Secretly investigate. Secretly? Well, if we make anyone angry, they might hit us with their steel helmets. And once that happens, our heads will crack open like eggs. A policeman in a country full of gentlemen wouldn't do such a thing. Where am I? I am on the right road. Oh, I was reading the top right, which is the next. This is the right button's thing. We can investigate. Look at the snowman. Look, what an adorable snowman. Wow, they make those in Great Britain too? He's a little crooked though. But look here, he got a scarf wrapped around him. It's blisteringly cold out. I wouldn't mind a scarf. Maybe some other time. Our wallets are already pretty breezy as it is. Ah yes. Classic, we have no money, ever. Maybe I should just borrow that snowman's scarf. If you did that, I'm sure whoever built that snowman will be heartbroken. Yeah, I know. Besides, even if I did borrow it, it'd just make my neck even colder than it already is. This is a police buggy from Scotland Yard. The Yard uses these to rush crime scenes and lock up criminals. You sure know a lot about this stuff, Susato. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to ride through London on one of these. Why don't you try breaking a window with one of those rocks over there? If I did that, I'd end up on the criminal side of the buggy. But, be that as it may, if there's no other way, I'll have to make do. I'll go search for a suitable rock. Yep. She's just Maya. Wait, no. I was just joking. An officer of Scotland Yard. I guess he's on guard duty here. I feel like if I got too close, he'd arrest me in an instant. You worry too much, Naruhodo. We haven't done anything wrong. We should be fine to do as we please. I don't know about that. I mean, it already happened to me twice. I've been handcuffed 2 times now, having done absolutely nothing wrong. Oh, what a shame. It might be because your eyes dart about so much. This path here is the crime scene. It's wide enough to give you a pretty clear view down the road. It's true. I don't see any obvious places that can be used as a hiding spot. Oi, you Japanese. What do you think you're doing? We're just investigating the crime scene. Why you're in league with that guy with the mustache, aren't you? In league? In that case, I bet you're here to tamper with that evidence, aren't you? Go on, get, shoo. He shooed us off like a couple of stray dogs. I guess we shouldn't get too close to the crime scene. Aw, that's a shame. Let's go to the other side of this road. Okay, the bike's bothering me. Also, this pillar's missing a piece. Also, the vent is missing a piece. This side is... Wow, it's an English bicycle. The wheel on this one is just so horribly, unbelievably bent. Maybe someone was just training really hard. It looks like they were riding for their life. It seems like bicycles are really popular in London right now. Also, there's been some sort of movement to alter women's clothing so they can ride too. Can't see it lasting very long. After a while, no one will be riding them anymore. You don't say. Maruhodo, you have a problem with bicycles? No way. Of course not. It's not like I hate them. It's just that taking both feet off the ground feels really reckless. Anyone would understand that after falling with stilts into a river. Next time I ride a bike, I'll just let you sit behind me. Hey, hold on. Look at the window on this building. What's the matter with it? It's completely sealed off with bricks. Oh my. I wonder what that's all about. Maybe the house is completely vacant, but there's smoke billowing up from the chimney. British culture remains an enigma. Huh. I was trying to get the fence, but I guess this is not important. An old residence made from bricks. I can really sense the history built up in those walls. There's so much history in it, in fact, the whole building is tilted. What is it? That old house looks especially dilapidated, even for this part of town. We should probably be looking for some cheap lodgings of our own. Yeah, you're right. Preferably somewhere cheap and not tilted, if at all possible. I guess if you look at this pillar right here, it's a little off. Oh, I can always check if we're done by reading the bottom. Nope. Oh, wait, no, that's just the... There's not much to look up on this side, I think. Well, I guess there's the signs, but they're not distinct. There's snow piled on the footpath, but you can see wheel tracks on the road. It seems coaches often cross through Briar Road. Snow will likely be all gone soon. Considering I slipped and fell on the footpath just a while ago, I feel like I'd be safer if I just walked on the street instead. But with your black clothes and your small physique, I'd be worried that the horses would trample you without even noticing. Thanks for your concern. Is there really something else to like? Check, check. Oh. Huh. Can't believe how gray and cloudy it is here. What's more, the fog is so thick I can barely see what's in front of me. Seems they weren't joking when they call London smoke. Way off, I'd missed all the fog. I can faintly make out what seems to be a tower being built. That's the Crystal Tower. It's being built for the World's Fair, to be held in half a year from now. I hear the whole tower will be covered in glass. It'll be the grandest symbol of the fair yet. Greatest fair in all the world, huh? hardly even imagine. I'm leaving. I'm going to jail. I'm coming back. L9. So this is the Gao. How might I say it? This certainly is an impeccable prison, isn't it? Well, speaking as a man who was locked up in one of Japan's jails, I think even our simple Japanese jails are far more comfortable than this. How heartbreaking. I've been told that the client is in the cell, but it's too dark to see further inside. What sort of person could he be? Number 53. The attorney is here to interview you. Stop hiding in the corner and come out. I have a name. To call me by a number is outrageous. I refuse to grace you with a reply. Excuse me, Naruhodo. Do you understand what's going on here? Your guess is as good as mine. Those bitter words. Definitely in Japanese, though. Huh. Who are... Shh! Be quiet. Must be hiding somewhere. None can hide from my eyes. Surely, right now, right this instant too, it is looking at me, listening to me. I can feel it. Well, let's try this again. There you are, damnable spirit that curses my very life. Hear it? You pardon me, but might you be Japanese? Good heavens. This is... Heavens above, bless me! I do sincerely apologize for that loss of composure earlier. Don't worry about it. It did surprise me a little, though. However, a year has passed since I left. I think that such a situation would transpire in a far-off land. The words of my fellow brethren penetrate my heart upon our meeting at the depths of hell. Oh, flood of emotions. Yeah, the power of 3D. We can have multiple viewpoints. You can rotate. Wait. This is the next client, Lord Chief Justice Vortex spoke of. I can't believe that it's a Japanese person. My gratitude to the motherland. After all, home is where the heart is. For the sake of one mere exchange student, she dispatched one first-rate attorney. Praise the motherland! Is he doing the... Is that like the Naruto run stance? A first-rate attorney? It looks like there's a huge misunderstanding here. I mean, it's sort of like a half dab, but there are too many missing parts. In any case, would you be willing to tell us your story, good sir? For example, we'd like to know about your arrest as a suspect. Aye, of course, with pleasure. Jumping up for joy. What is this pose? I don't quite understand what he's saying, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. Let's hope his trust isn't misplaced. This better not be a JoJo's reference. Not. pleased to make your acquaintance. I am Ryunosuke Naruhodo, an attorney. As for me, I am Susato Mikotoba. I'm his legal assistant. I am an exchange student sent to Great Britain from the Great Empire of Japan. Soseki Natsume is my name. Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume, was it? That's an interesting name. Well, you see, I am quite fond of writing haiku. You can think of it as a pen name, I suppose. A pen name, huh? That's where you take on a different name for an authored work, right? Yes, that is generally the case. That's not all there is to it. There's a kind of refined elegance to the title. In any case, I have to say that hearing about a haiku makes me feel like I'm back in Japan. That reminds me, earlier you said you were an exchange student, correct? Yes, the Japanese government sent me here 1 year ago to study the English language. I had no choice but to comply. Look at the situation it has put me in. They've ruined me. You had no choice? You mean you didn't want to participate in the exchange? That's not quite true. I've always wanted to visit the British Empire. Uh-huh. However, it was a ridiculous demand to begin with, even more so coming from the government. What exactly do you mean? Asking me to study English literature would be at least within the realms of my field. But to study the English language? I have not even an idea on where to start. Simply absurd! Huh. In fact, the other day, I received a directive asking me to report on my progress this past year. Because of their sheer nerve, I submitted a blank sheet of paper in response. That will show them! See, that's almost a dab. You must be the rather important person to be able to do that. Ah, yes. People often tell me that. You said it so proudly. So what suspicions were you arrested under? I had no hand in it. I would never be able to commit such an atrocious act such as murder. Murder? Oh, that's right. She didn't actually die. She was stabbed with a dagger right in front of me. Right in front of you? And does that mean you saw the culprit? I did not. Huh? If I did, I would not be in such a predicament right now. Which means the situation here isn't so simple. Of all places, why did she go out of her way to get stabbed right in front of me? That's right, this must all be due to the curse of these London spirits. Oh, you damned pests! But despite him being present as it happened, he didn't see the culprit. In any case, we should ask him for more details on the incident. It had just stopped snowing. The streets of that cursed night were shrouded by fog. I was on my way back to my cursed flat after making my cursed purchase at the bookshop. It looks like he's cursed in all sorts of ways. There was but one other individual walking in front of me along that cursed road. She was wearing a green overcoat. When I was about to pass her by, it happened. She suddenly let out a short cry, and then she collapsed onto the cold ground. How terrible. I begged her to speak, but she would not open her mouth to respond. The scent of death! But she isn't dead. Terrified, I seized the first opportunity to flee from the cursed scene. At full speed, mind you, back to my cursed flat. That might not have been your best decision. As a Japanese man, I should probably be ashamed for what I did. By the way, do you happen to know the victim at all? Not in the slightest. I am not acquainted with any blonde bits, let alone young women. It seems you fail to understand just how much I managed to keep myself cooped up in my flat. I see. The victim was a young woman. And by the way, besides the two of you, was anyone else walking along the footpath? Unfortunately, I did not catch sight of anyone other than that woman. What? No one else was there? The victim was a complete stranger, and there was nobody else present. If that's really the case, this is quite curious. Huh? What about it is curious? Susato, what did you mean by quite curious? There's just something about Soseki's story that so far it doesn't add up. The victim was a complete stranger to him, and there was no one else at the scene. Furthermore, he ran away from the scene so that nobody would see him. Indeed! But if that's the case, that means Soseki must be the culprit. No. What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. I was thinking it. Who reads my mind? I should learn to keep my mouth shut. That's not quite what I was getting at. I was curious about how exactly Soseki managed to get arrested. Oh. Soseki made no contact with the victim, and there was no one else at the scene. How then did Scotland Yard track him down? Oh, he's right. It was him. Thanks to that man's cursed great deduction. Oh, I ended up getting arrested. Why must I suffer this shame? Cursed great deduction. No way. I'll remember that man's name until the day I die. He called himself a great detective, then laughed an unforgettably obnoxious laugh. Be gone, cursed soul. Be Sherlock Holmes. I'll curse you until the day I die. It really was him. Mr. Holmes? I never would have guessed we'd hear his name here. Why not? After I escaped that nightmarish scene, one cursed night passed. While I was gnawing on my hard French bread, several men suddenly stormed into my room. We're from the yard. Drop that weapon this instant. No matter how hard it may have been, who would call a French bread a weapon? Spartan lifestyle. You've had quite a rough time of it, huh? There he stood, in the middle of all those detectives, with that blindingly wide grin. His name was none other than the Sherlock Holmes. You know, I don't actually think "the" is part of his full name. Afterwards, I learned that he's the greatest detective in London. I suppose that's where the great and great detective comes from. With his all too clever deductions, he managed to pinpoint where I lived. He then had the nerve to accuse me, a frail hunchbacked man, as a knife-wielding maniac. Wonder what kind of amazing great deduction he came up with this time. I must ask though, were you arrested solely due to Mr. Holmes' great deduction? Even that would have been too heavy-handed for that lot. Well, to be honest, when they stormed into my room that morning, confusion took me. Of course, it's only natural. They interrogated me with their fast, difficult English words as I stood and trembled. Cowardly Brits! Well, this is the British Empire after all. Of course they speak English. I began to panic, but I knew I had to respond to their verbal assault. I simply responded with, "Yes, I do," and "I'm fine," again and again. Before I realized it, I had been handcuffed and thrown in here. Well, I probably would have thrown you in jail too. What a guy. Master Naruhodo! Just Naruhodo is fine. Excuse me. Seems I've been taken over by British culture. Am I to understand that you will accept my case and defend me? Is it true? It's too good to be true. Is it permissible for me to believe it as truth? Well... Why? Why has the cat got your tongue? Really, I'm just an exchange student. I'm the same as you, Soseki. You are an exchange student? I have stood as an attorney in the British courts once, but what am I supposed to believe in? What guides my struggles in these foreign courts? I haven't come to understand that yet. Naruhodo. And even worse, I'm not a proper law student in the first place. I'm a substitute, at best. That armband. That's proof that you are a Japanese attorney, no? This is a memento of the man I'm imitating. He was my best friend. Memento. I am well aware. I am well aware of what they all say about me. Who do you mean by they? None of those British attorneys care to defend me. Why not? You two were right. The footpath where the crime occurred was empty, save for the victim and myself. Or Steven, I fled the scene. You can't help but think that I must be the culprit. I know that. Soseki. And above all, I am an exchange student. I am nothing but a suspicious foreigner to this great British Empire. Trial for him? What a waste for time. Undoubtedly, that horde Japanese did the deed. All those attorneys stood before me and laughed at me, as if it was a cruel joke. You won't understand half of what we say, anyhow. But I knew. That's awful. I've studied English more fervently than any of those stuffy big city policemen. I crossed the very seas to show my reverence and desire to learn this enduring language. Nary a soul is willing to lend an ear to a poor hunchback foreigner. At the least, I would be overjoyed to entrust my fate to a fellow countryman, one who knows my plight. Yet I dare not thrust it upon you, forcing you to bear an unbearable burden. When I look into your eyes, I can see the many burdens you've already placed on yourself. Soseki. I need some time to think about this. First, I'll try to do whatever I can right now. What does that entail? We intend to investigate this incident in intense detail from this moment forth. We hope to find some sort of lead and use it to help you in some way. Very well. I will be waiting for you, substitute law student Naruhodo. Let's proceed with our investigation, Naruhodo. The game is afoot. Anything else to talk about? Alright. I haven't been doing this, so I will present the armband. Oh, this is proof that the Empire of Japan has recognized you as a first-rate attorney. This must mean that you really will be acting as my defense. Oh no, that's not exactly why I'm showing you this. Why else would you show something like that? Something like this? Oops. I probably shouldn't have gotten his hopes up like that. There you go. There's your badge. Oh. He's back. What are you doing over there, Japanese children? Oh, it's Inspector Grigson. You should be vaguely aware by now, but you're not on a sightseeing trip here. We know. We are, investigating the crime scene. Oh, it looks like you went to the Gao. That must mean you met the culprit. He is not the culprit. He's only a suspect. I suppose you're just trying to help out a fellow Japanese, eh? Well, you're free to do as you like. It's not my problem. You won't be able to change the result of tomorrow's trial, anyway. Ugh. It's like he's trying to freeze us solid with his cold aloofness. Sure, you could blame London's freezing cold winter for that feeling. I don't think that's right. Here, let's present the armband first. I don't forget. Inspector Grigson, could you take a look at this? Oh, I've never seen an emblem before. This is proof that I'm a defense attorney from the Empire of Japan. In other words, it's just a useless toy now that you're in the Great British Empire. No, as a Japanese man, this is my pride and soul. English gentlemen tend to not shove their pride and soul in other people's faces. Haruhodo, don't lose spirit. I think I'll just accept defeat and move on. Scotland Yard. Ever since I laid eyes on its illustration in Mr. Holmes' novels, I've dreamed of visiting it. Scotland Yard is the world's most capable police force. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to wear one of their iron helmets. Even I have to admit, when I see a guard wearing one of those helmets, I can't help but feel like the image practically screams, "This city is under my protection." Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, Scotland Yard is actually much more labor intensive than it looks. That true? Take our early mornings, for example. First, our constables have to run around the city, waking up all the workers. What? You mean everyone in the city? They knock on people's windows with a long rod. I had to do it too, a long time ago. That's quite something. All of our work is for London citizens. It's only natural. After that, our constables are patrolling their beats. They take no breaks until the day is done. There's even a quota for how long they have to walk. 20 miles a day. That's a lot of miles. I have no idea how long that really is, but I imagine it's quite the distance. Let's see. It would be about the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama if you were to walk on foot. I feel like that kind of trek would make me feel like more of a wreck. Once it gets dark, another important job is to light all the gas lamps. Sounds important. Aye. And between all of that, you have to investigate the odd case once in a while, right? Not to mention, you occasionally have to chase down lawbreakers. I'm not sure how I like you're making those duties sound like side jobs. Anyway, that's how it is. Some of our men have even collapsed during their shifts. I've always looked up to those iron helmets. But now... Perhaps Naruhodo deserves more the honor of wearing one, in my opinion. Thanks, Susato. Thanks. I doubt I'd be able to handle something with so much weight riding on it. The crime was committed 2 days ago, at 5 p.m. It was on that open road over there. It was there that the victim, a young woman, stabbed in the back with a knife. The lady is still unconscious and being treated at this time. Is that correct? I wouldn't exactly call her a lady, but yes. Until she wakes up, we won't even be able to identify her with any certainty. Which means that we won't be able to request the victim's testimony. Here's a map of the scene. Take it if you want. Wow, you'd give this to us? It's our policy to give the culprit's attorney the minimum information necessary. The minimum necessary. I still haven't agreed to be Sosaki's attorney, but okay. Since he was so kind to offer, we should take it. Well, it's a criminal affair and not a criminal affair, so I think it goes forward without being. I don't know. One got stabbed, so we're just assuming that charges are being pressed always. Well, either way, at the time, there was nobody at the scene other than the victim and the Japanese man. There's no debating who the culprit is. I believe Soseki himself said that he didn't see anyone else around as well. But even if Soseki said that he didn't see anyone, doesn't mean that the culprit couldn't be anyone else. Fortunately, that's exactly what it means. What? After all, they've already found a decisive witness who clearly saw the moment of the crime. Seriously? And there's 2 of them, to boot. What? Smoke's famous fog was thinner than usual. That Japanese picked a bad day for murder. There are 2 witnesses? Who exactly are these witnesses? You could say that one of them is the most trustworthy witness in London. After all, he's a constable of Scotland Yard. What? A constable? This changes things a lot. Constable just happened to witness the incident taking place? It's not that unusual. That's why the constables are here, after all. Do you think that maybe you could tell us more about this constable? Constable? Oh, of course. You're free to ask anything you want. At tomorrow's trial, that is. Huh? The constable is absolutely going to be summoned by the court as a witness. Think of it as an exciting prospect for tomorrow. It doesn't seem like he's willing to let us meet the witness. Constable? Witness? As your legal assistant, qualified to say that this will be very disadvantageous to us. I don't think you have to be a legal assistant to figure that out. Oh, that reminds me. What? The one who found and arrested the suspect was Sherlock Holmes, right? It was Holmes? You didn't know? What's going on? I saw his face darken. That man's going on trial tomorrow, right? You will be defending him, I assume. Well... Whatever the case is, there's one thing I can say for sure. Here in London, no attorney worth his salt would take that man's case. because the prosecutor is the Grim Reaper, right? Your client is beyond saving now. You'd only be wasting your time by defending him. But there is one thing that strikes me as peculiar. What's that? That old Deathbringer hasn't stood in court for a good few years. Is that so? And he only prosecutes infamous criminals, or those who commit the most heinous crimes. Infamous criminals? Heinous crimes? His past marks were all men who would be sentenced with the death penalty. But that's not the case this time. You're right. The young woman was stabbed, but her life remains intact. I can't imagine why he would show up in a small fry case like this. I don't really agree with the phrase small fry. Maybe he has some specific reason to do so. Would you happen to have any idea what that reason may be? Mere men couldn't comprehend the inner workings of the Grim Reaper's mind. You'll just have to ask for yourself when you get to court tomorrow. I'll have to face the Grim Reaper again. Hey, tell me who you heard that name from. Huh? Oh. It was Soseki who told us. He said that Mr. Holmes stormed into his room with a bunch of yard officers. It must have been another one of his great deductions at work. Don't be ridiculous. That lousy amateur. He's always poking his nose into everything. Oh? First, he catches wind of an incident from some bumbling idiot. Runs off to the crime scene. Seconds later, he's circling the area, spewing incomprehensible nonsense. And before you know it, he suddenly solved the entire case. That's impressive, to say the least. But isn't he an important asset to Scotland Yard? Nonsense. Do you know what this is? Yes. That's the Strand magazine. It's the magazine that serializes the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And that ridiculous excuse for a novel. All the detectives of the Yard. Just constantly being insulted by that great detective. In fact, I say they might as well call that drivel the base slanders of Sherlock Holmes. Well, I do admit that it does occasionally come off as such. We're working as hard as we can, but because of him, we're a laughingstock. He's a terrifying threat, not just to criminals, but to the Yard as well. Are you sure you should be comparing Scotland Yard to criminals? Seems like the great detective and the police have a pretty complicated relationship. Alright then. It looks like that's all the information we can get from the inspector. Naruhodo? May I have a moment? What is it, Susato? Your attitude changed all of a sudden. This is just my opinion, but I think perhaps at this point, we ought to see what our old friend has to say. Uh-oh. My old friend, do you mean Sherlock Holmes? Yes, indeed. I am unquestionably referring to Sherlock Holmes. The twinkle in her eyes is clearly excitement. As I recall, didn't Soseki mention Mr. Holmes as well? Yes, he did. He did indeed. With that in mind, one could say that he is related to this case as well. This is absolutely not my own self-indulgence. But we don't know his address, so it's at Baker Street. How did you know that? See, it's written in this book. 221B Baker Street, the address of the world's most famous detective. I see. Then shall we head over? You'd better get going before Susato's excitement rises to a fever pitch. Let us call for a coach. It looks like we're meeting again, sooner than expected. Sherlock Holmes. Well, that was random anime, but I appreciate the budget spent on that. Yeah, I guess that's where the intro anime went. It went to showing them traveling 2 feet to Mr. Holmes's office. So this is Mr. Holmes's office. It certainly has a strange vibe to it. What do you think? What do you think, Susato? Is it just like how it's written in the books? Susato? Think. So many mysterious cases must have solved in this very room. Yeah, no doubt about it, huh? I've never read any of it myself. I can't really say for certain. The detective, in pursuit of villains hiding in the shadows of the foggy streets of the capital. Ah, how wondrously romantic. It gets your heart pounding, your blood racing. Doesn't it, Naruhodo? Uh-huh. Yeah, of course. No doubt about it. Because of all that, just a little overcome with emotions at the moment. Please, give me no mind. Right. Sheesh. It looks like a good detective isn't home. But we let ourselves in. Classic Naruhodo bloodline. Let's just go in without permission. No one will mind. Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Hello. Is anybody home? Oh, yes. Hello there. Do you have a big case for us? Oh, hello. Huh. Say, you wouldn't happen to be... Oopsie. Hang on a sec. I'll go start brewing some tea for you. I recall this girl was... Susato. You saw that girl just now, right? Wow. This is really amazing. Even the King of Bohemia came here to request Mr. Holmes' expertise. The King of Bohemia? His Majesty, King Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund von Ornstein. Wait, that's an M, not an N. Ormstein. Never heard of him. Put down the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a second and look at this. Alright, he's done. Have some fresh baked biscuits too. Ah, weren't you? I knew it. Looks like I wasn't mistaken after all. How could you possibly mistake her for anyone else? Ooh, you were here all along? Stealing things is a big no-no. You know that. And I was so excited to test out my new smoke launcher prototype for myself. Oh yeah, well, you can call me an inventor. I made this smoke launcher. The girl who appeared in the lobby after the trial. You know, this is my first time seeing an Asian lawyer. You only just arrived in London, and you're already getting put to work. Tough, huh? Yeah. But it's no big deal. This tea is my own special blend. Go on. Drink up. Down the hatch. Alright. Bottoms up. I don't think I've had tea like this before. Wow. How do I put it? It has such a mellow, yet sweet aroma. Ooh, perfect! Success! I tried blending tea with a fragrance that helps relieve fatigue. Now's not the time to be tired out from your trip. You've got another big case tomorrow. What's more, you're defending a fellow Japanese guy. You've got to give it all you got. How did you... by any chance, you hear about us from Mr. Holmes? Wow, you guys know Holmesy? Holmesy, yeah. That's gotta be like it. Actually, we traveled here on the same ship as Mr. Holmes. Whoa, really? I had no idea. Holmesy only just got back from traveling abroad, but he's already up and at it today. Wait a second. I'm positive that this is the girl we met after the trial yesterday. But why does she know so much about us? You don't suppose this is another one of those deductions, do you? Putting that question aside, so what in heaven's name is this girl doing here in Mr. Holmes' office? Oh, how rude of me. I haven't even introduced myself yet. I'm Iris Watson. How excited I am to make your acquaintance. Mr. Holmes and I live here together. Watson is now a lolly. Yes. Wow, Iris was it? It's such a pretty name. Phoenix falls for many irises. What's the matter, Susato? Wait, just one moment. Miss Watson? Does that mean... What's the deal? Susato got so flustered out of nowhere. Uh-huh, that's me. And what about you guys? Ah, right. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, attorney at law. Oh. My name is Susato Mikotova, and I am his legal assistant. Pleased to meet you. Susie and Ryu. Got it. Susie? Ryu? This is starting to get silly, but I have so many questions. I guess I should start by asking her. I agree. I believe we met yesterday at the Old Bailey, right? Yeah? Thanks for everything you did yesterday. Oh, no. We should be the ones to thank you. I remember being held at gunpoint by that horrifyingly large weapon before you came. Like this, right? Speaking of yesterday, I seem to recall you dragging Gina off somewhere. Gina. Yeah, that hot-headed witness from yesterday's trial. Oh, you mean Jean Bean. She's actually a pickpocket. Yeah, we guessed as much. He's such a meanie. You can't just go off stealing people's inventions. Inventions? Are you talking about that huge, dangerous toy? Yep. So I had to chase after her in order to get it back. If I knew something like this would happen, I would have put a self-destruct function on it. This girl says some scary stuff. Anyway, after that, I brought Jean Bean back to my place. I want her to apologize to the technician that helped me make it. Technician? Of course. That's my Holmesy. Did you call him Holmesy? You know, Holmesy and I live together in this flat. Wow. I never would have guessed that Mr. Holmes had a little girl. Whoa, no way! I'm not his daughter. Huh? Even I wouldn't call him my own father. I wouldn't call my own father Holmesy. In that case, why are you two living together? Well, London flats are just so expensive no matter where you look, you know? But it's way cheaper to go halvesies with a roommate instead. Wait. Excuse me, Miss Iris. How old are you? I just turned 10 this year. But what about your father and mother? Are they not? Well, you see, I don't actually have anyone like that. Really? She must have a tough life. May I ask you something? Sure, you can ask me anything, Susie. I'm actually an avid fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Ooh, is that This Gen magazine? I've read every issue, even back home in Japan. I've had them all shipped overseas. Wow, so even you Far Easterners are reading my stories, huh? Did you just say my stories? Holmesy just loves telling me all about the cases he solves. And they all turn out so fascinating. So I thought, why should I be the only one to hear about these tantalizing tales? What? Just last night, he was telling me about the case that he solved on the steamship. I'm actually in the middle of working on the manuscript for next month's issue. You've been working on the manuscript? Yep. This is just between us, though. I think I'll call it the Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? Those words sound very familiar. I always stretch the truth a bit here and there, though. Like this time, I'm planning on just making the venomous Indian snake the culprit instead. Aww. If I recall, that was one of Mr. Holmes's crazy deductions. Just so you know, I do know that's not how snakes work. But you know, it's just a story, right? Might as well make it as crazy and entertaining as possible. So that means all of the Sherlock Holmes stories that have been published in this magazine? Yep, I wrote every single one of them, with this cutting-edge typewriter to boot. But I thought all of these stories were written by John H. Watson, MD, weren't they? Such as having some trouble controlling the volume of her voice. It's like she's shrieking. Believe it or not, that name was actually referring to me. After all, I'm just Lil Watson. Then how do you explain the MD part? Well, you see, I'm an MD. What? At the age of 10? Yep, at the tender age of 10. Huh. That's impressive, to say the least. Please excuse me, but Dr. Watson is a gentleman. I see what you mean. I just had to make some quick edits to my portrayal. What do you mean? I mean, come on. Don't you think it'd be a little weird if I didn't? What kind of great detective takes on a little 10-year-old girl everywhere he goes? Well, suppose you have a point. Kusata looks like she's just had her soul sucked out and trampled on. By the way, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. What is it, Ryu? How did you know that I was an attorney who had just arrived in London? Even queerer, you said tomorrow would be another difficult trial. Oh, that's all? We'd love to hear an explanation for this, if you'd please. Sure, I don't mind, but there's not much really to explain, really, honestly. Alright, let's get this started. Come, one and all, to Iris Watson's Theater of Logic and Reason. Oh. Oh. First off, it was totally obvious from the start that Ryu was an attorney. After all, we first met in the defendant lobby. But what about the part where I had just arrived in London? I can see your passport sticking out of your pocket, stuffed in there with a boat ticket. Oh. It was a safe guess to assume that you had just arrived in Great Britain. Not to mention, the fact that you went toe-to-toe against that prosecutor proves you're new to British law. You mean the Grim Reaper, of course. Also, Susie's hand still has some red left over from the stamp she received. That stamp is from the gaol, right? You went a convict there for an interview. Oh. Did you know? They do that because they want to keep track of when visitors come and go. I had no idea. By the way, they use a red stamp when a visitor wants to talk to a foreigner. So essentially, even though you two just finished a trial, you went to see a foreigner at the gaol. Yet, two of you aren't looking gloomy at all. Thus, whoever you met with must not have been friend or family, right? This all leads to one conclusion. You must have taken on a new case, right? I see. What about your deduction that the trial would be tomorrow? Holmesy came home yesterday talking about how he just solved another case. I arrested a screaming Japanese man, he told me, grinning like a schoolgirl in love. Japanese man. He must have meant... He must have been talking about Soseki. That must be a Japanese sword on your hip. And I think they call Susie's clothes a kimono. Obviously, the two of you came from Japan. From there, it's easy to see how I arrived at the conclusion that you chose to defend the Japanese guy. There's just one more conclusion now. The two of you totally came here to ask Holmesy for intel on the case. Damn, she's good. The Japanese man's trial is tomorrow. That's what it says on the memo on the mantelpiece. See, Holmesy has a bad habit of stabbing all of his memos with knives. Well, I suppose that should be enough. There you have it. The great deductions of Iris Watson's have been revealed. And she's definitely the actual detective of the two. Oh. Did my deductions hit the mark? You were all exactly right. Amazing. Iris's great deductions really are something else. It even has all of Mr. Holmes' little flourishes and pomp. Well, all I did was mimic the real deal. Either way, it makes things much easier if you're caught up in everything. Could you tell us more about that Japanese man? You said that Mr. Holmes arrested him, right? Yep. Holmesy had actually just returned from a trip abroad, but detectives were waiting for him at the station. So they dragged him off as soon as he arrived. Wow. The great detective sure is popular. Apparently, there were sightings of a suspicious, hunchbacked, middle-aged Japanese man. This man was running away from Briar Road, where a woman had been stabbed. Suspicious, hunchbacked, and middle-aged. I'm sure it must have been Soseki. Soseki claimed that there was nobody else at the scene, though. It looks like he didn't see the witnesses. Holmesy used his classic deductions to figure out the guy's address. The police went straight to his flat, near the crime scene. And they found that suspicious hunchback middle-aged man trembling in fear. Huh. I guess his great deductions do get it right sometimes. Of course they do. He's the great detective. But if that incident happened only 2 days ago, why is the trial scheduled for tomorrow? It's way too soon, no matter what the case may be. You have a point. It doesn't seem like they're giving the investigators much time to work. Going to Holmesy because there's so much crime in this city. What? Scotland Yard is doing the best they can, but even they are having trouble keeping up. That's so. I had no idea. They just don't have the time to investigate and hold a trial for every single crime. They're short-staffed, underfunded, and usually the most suspicious guy is a criminal anyway. It's horrible. This is the fruit of the pinnacle of law? Truth can be so bitter. Yeah, it looks that way. But if that's the case, now I'm even more worried about Soseki. Thank you for answering all of our questions, Iris. We've learned a lot from you. You're so very welcome. I had fun too. By the way, Iris, where is Mr. Holmes right now? As you guessed, we want to ask him about the case. Oh, Holmesy. I think he must still be in the middle of investigating a case. Would that be Soseki's case? Soseki, was it? He said he was going to that guy's flat. If you head there, I'll bet you'll find him. But where might that place be, Miss Iris? I think the policemen are still investigating the scene of the crime, but... Is there an inspector by the name of Toby on the scene? Ah. Yeah, I remember. There was a Toby. I knew it. Well then. Will you give this to Toby for me? If you do, I'm sure he'll spill the beans. What is this? 5 shillings and a message card, I believe. So, you'll answer anything the guy in the dark jacket asks, right? And then Inspector Gregson will just say okay to anything we want? Understood. Thank you so much for this, Iris. Now, I'll get back to writing the manuscript of the Speckled Band. I'll prepare more of my specially blended tea for you. Come and visit again sometime. Thank you very much, Iris. That, let us return to the crime scene once more. This card, along with just 1 silver coin, would influence the entirety of Scotland Yard. We return to the crime scene, the world's heaviest coin in hand. We continue. I'll keep going so early, so. It looks like the investigation hasn't finished yet. Without further ado, let's look for Inspector Gregson. Yeah, this time we have something more important than his fish and chips. I wanna inspect the card. Actually, I didn't inspect the map either. Yep, that's a map. Oh. I'm not sure what I expected. Nope. What it says. The detail of this. You can like clearly see the words. I wonder if 3DS version is as clear due to the difference in resolution. Excuse me, Mr. Gregson. Could I have a moment of your time? I'm terribly sorry, but I'm incredibly busy. I have no time to entertain bored Japanese. We have this. This is addressed to you, Inspector Gregson. Iris Watson. What? Milady sent something for me? Milady? Hand it over. Give it to me. Now, come on. Whoa. He just snatched it away. What exactly is this coin? As you can see, it is a crown coin. However, this is no ordinary coin. This is, yes, one might call it a payment for my performance. Performance? Oh, so you mean... Exactly. It goes without saying, this is for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The lady wishes to include my likeness in the story, so she rewards me with this. Yes, I know. I have read of your great efforts. Well, to be honest, whenever I appear in a story, I'm usually just the butt of the joke. I know exactly how you feel. More importantly, is there something you'd like to know? Huh? So, you'll answer anything the guy in the dark jacket asks, right? I can say nothing other than right. Now, inquire as you see fit. Go on. Very well then. We will take up your offer and ask but one single question. The two of us would very much like to know the location of Soseki Natsume's in the flat. Oh, yeah, the culprit, right? Tiny little Japanese guy, big mustache. If you want to know, that Pratt's shabby little residence stands in your field of vision. There. Oh. It's that rundown house with a beat-up bicycle in front of it. Go up to the second floor. It is far closer than I expected. The landlord of that residence should be a man by the name of John Garrideb. At any rate, should you meet Milady again, send her my sincere regards. Got it? Relate to her sincerely. Make sure my regards are sent. Okay. Now, that's all I have to say. Long live Milady. Off he goes. Shall we head to Soseki's flat? Of course. Why does he have a cannon? Why is there a maid outfit off of the cannon? Oh, there's a maid here. Yes? Oh, is this the residence of Mr. John Garrideb? It is. Who might you two be? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He is the attorney for Soseki Natsume, one of the residents of this property. If it's alright, may we speak with Soseki? May we speak about Soseki with you? I will bring my master for you. Please wait one short moment. Susato, did you see that? Was that one of those famous British maids that I've heard so much about? Yes, I've heard that the most affluent families in the Great British Empire employ many of them. This is the first time I've seen one. I am so moved. That really feels like we've come to Britain, right? If there was a butler alongside her, it would be absolutely perfect. I don't know what perfect means to you, but yes, it does feel like that. Thank you for your patience. My master is willing to see you now. want to examine so badly, but let's talk first. Welcome. I'm the landlord here, John Garydab.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. This is Naruhodo, attorney at law.
Oh, you'll have to excuse me for not staying to greet you. Some years back, during the Battle of Maiwand, I took a bullet straight to the knee. Is this a... The general presented me with a medal, and I reluctantly left the rest to my inferiors. He's a war veteran. It's difficult for me to climb stairs. I don't go out a lot. Considering this place is on the 3rd floor, I was out of breath myself when I got up here.
Obviously, that's because you don't get enough exercise.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, if you were presented a medal, you must have been an accomplished soldier.
Oh, please. It's just a hunk of junk. Medals are nothing more than trinkets. Just throwing it out would be an insult to the general, though. Though I have it hung up for now. Hey, Joan. Show the guest my medal, if you would. Joan? The medal, if you... Oh! Ah! Come, flab it, Joan. Watch where you're pouring that stuff.
Oh, goodness me. I am terribly sorry, Master.
Just be more careful from now on.
Of course, Master.
Well, at any rate, nowadays, I'm just whiling away the time peacefully. Hey,
I see.
Now then, you were here to ask about that tenant of mine, right?
Yes, we certainly appreciate any information you can give us.
Of course. As a sworn protector of British peace, I'll help you in any way that I can.
He's stirring his tea with his pipe?
Oh god, alright. Speaking of the Japanese, I believe that their empire signed a treaty of alliance with us. What's more, it seems that this incident has caught the eye of the general public.
Is that really true?
Even now, that famous detective is carrying out an investigation in my home.
You mean Sherlock Holmes?
Ah, that might have been the one. I'm not really interested. I've never even heard of him.
Oh, but isn't that an issue of the Strand magazine over there?
What? Oh, no, that's,
The detective is currently investigating that Japanese man's room. He's in Soseki's room?
Because of him, the whole neighborhood is gossiping about my home. A retired man who only wants a quiet life. Such gossip is indeed very troublesome.
Mr. Garydab, would you be willing to tell us about your tenant, Soseki Natsume?
Sure. He's been living here for about a week.
Only a week? They moved in quite recently.
You see, we have tenants on both the 1st and 2nd floor. It was just 1 week ago when the 2nd floor became free. The 2nd floor is actually... Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, goodness me. I am terribly sorry, Master. If you ask me, I knew that Asian was suspicious from the very start. Do you really think so? That man is always sweating bullets, with his eyes darting all to and fro. Everything about his demeanor practically screams suspicious. You could tell it was only a matter of time before he'd snap. I had no doubt about it. I should make sure that this maid doesn't get called to the witness stand. Was there anything else you found suspicious? Why, yes, there definitely was. You really perked up by that question. Was there anything in particular that struck you about your tenant, Soseki Natsume? Why, yes, everything about him is suspicious. Everything? He'd always be reading incomprehensible books,
cooped up in his room like a hermit. He never speaks to anyone, and he's never, ever had a single guest. Every day, he goes to the used bookshop and comes back at 5 p.m. to turn on the stove. And he always stays up later than anyone else in this home. Is that so? The first floor tenant typically calls it a night at around 9 p.m. As for that Japanese, he's never gone to bed any earlier than 2 a.m. Real degen hours. Okay. Could I ask you something? What is it? Miss Maid, why are you so intimately familiar with Soseki's lives and habits? Oh! The tenants don't live on this floor, right? Yes, they live on the first and second floors, both below this floor. In that case, isn't it a little strange that you know so much about him? You've given up precise details on when he comes home and when he goes to bed.
Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, goodness me, I'm terribly sorry, Master. Susato does have a point. It did feel as though the maid knew more than she should have. As you might know, the incident occurred about 5 p.m. Did you happen to look out the window at all during that time?
Window, huh?
You notice that your window faces Briar Road. The incident occurred on the pavement at the opposite side of Briar Road. Did you perhaps catch sight of any suspicious individuals outside, for example?
5 p.m. is typically about dinner time in our household. Unfortunately, I don't recall anything abnormal. What about you, Joan?
I didn't notice anything either. The sun was setting, so it was starting to get dark. Not to mention the fog. I imagine it would be difficult to see so far away. I see. Did anything else unusual happen at all?
Anything unusual?
It can be anything, really. Even something that seems unrelated to the case.
Oh, in that case.
Did you notice something?
Well, it's probably not worth mentioning, but when the crime was committed... Tally ho! Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, goodness me. I am terribly sorry, Master.
Just be more careful next time.
Of course, Master. But might I interject, Mr. Attorney? Sure. What's on your mind? What I can remember, nothing at all worth discussing happened in this home, I do believe. Is that true, Mr. Gary Dev?
Yeah, he's been burned like 5 times.
But I guess he doesn't get very many guests, so it probably doesn't happen often. Maybe, I hope. Because otherwise, it's not good. You sounded like you had something to say.
Oh no, it was just egads! Joan, get it together, please.
I'm sorry, Master, but I truly do believe there's not much to be said.
I suppose not. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It was just another quiet evening. Right, Joan?
Yes, indeed, Master. Very suspicious. What in the heck is going on here? It looks like something happened in this room last night. I can't help but be curious. By the way, which room is Soseki's?
Right below us. Check the second floor.
Mr. Holmes is currently investigating it, right?
He said that the tenant himself requested the investigation, so I handed him the key.
Doubt. Soseki asked Mr. Holmes to investigate his case? That has to be a barefaced lie. Do you think we can get a look at his room, too?
Sure, I don't mind. It's right down the stairs. Not sure if we'll find anything of use in Soseki's room, but we need to get our hands on whatever information we can. Shall we? Of course. Not to mention, we can ask Mr. Holmes plenty of questions as well. Alright. Investigate. What? This is so suspicious, I can't investigate it. Alright. Obvious bait in the room is this. How in the world do you justify having a cannon in your room? And to make matters worse, it's real. Ha! That thing is nothing more than a worthless toy. Huh? When I retired from the military, the army sold it to me. You know, in case the enemy ever attacks us, it's useful to have one lying around. To have a cannon lying around? Sure. In this crazy world we live in, you never know just what might happen next. Mr. Gyakuten, what do you think could possibly happen? Well, so far, Joan uses it to dry her aprons. According to her, they dry quite nicely when she hangs them there. It's almost as if the cannon itself is hanging its head in shame. Alright. And there's like other stuff too, but okay. Well, actually, the medal's probably. Well, let's see what the medal is. This looks like a medal, set in a splendid decorative frame. It looks like the owner is quite proud of it. I'm a little worried about the way it's leaning. Oh, that? It's just an old hunk of junk. Huh? I could just toss the thing, but it would be inexcusably rude to the general. As you can see, I decided to just throw it up there on the wall. He says that, but it's framed up high on the wall. It's polished to perfection to boot. Part of the medal bears an inscription. Let's see. Good job medal? Well then, that sounds like a medal even I could earn. Yes, well, what you see is what you get. It was their way of saying, good job. Every soldier knows that one's deeds cannot be measured simply by sheer number of medals. There's a huge screen set up here, as if it only exists to block the way. It almost looks like someone's trying to hide something. I wonder what's behind this screen. It makes me want to try and peek behind it. Ahem, ahem. Maybe we should back off for now, Susato. That maid seems like she has half a mind to splash us with hot tea. Ahem, ahem. Alright, let's get out of here. Well, there's a cat. And a lot of books. This is pretty amazing. What a stifling stench. I feel like I'm about to choke on the air in this room. Is it coming from that huge mountain of old books? I have never seen this many books. I haven't either. The power of 3D. Now even like the cat in the background can be animated. But still, it's so dark in here. That is a window over there, is it not? Rather than a window, it looks like something that was once a window. It looks like it's been filled in using bricks and mortar. Does Soseki really live in a room like this? By the way, I don't see Mr. Holmes anywhere. Huh, you're right. According to what Mr. Gyakuten had once said, he should have been investigating in here. Probably in the books. Living in the books somewhere. Okay. Well, obviously, we have to investigate the cat first.
budget? How much budget did they spend on this cat? It must be important. Aw, what a darling cat. Maybe he's a little watchman, here to guard the book while the master's away. He's not doing his job very well. He just jumped into a mountain of books. It looks a little like a calico cat. I guess they have those here in Great Britain too. Perhaps Soseki brought him here from Japan. Suddenly, I feel so homesick for Japan. I've only just been here for 2 days though. The Japanese-style desk sits solemnly within the vast volume of literature. Maybe this is where Soseki reads his book and pets his cat. I bet he even dreams about being smothered by those old books. I'm afraid you might be right. This? Something on top of the desk. It's a receipt from a used bookshop. Tattered Tales Book Emporium. It's addressed to Soseki, and it's dated 2 days ago, at 4:45 p.m. That's the same day as the incident. I've got a feeling that was just before Soseki got roped into this whole incident. Seems he was out shopping for old books. Why are the bags never examinable? When they're like, my eyes are always drawn to them. Look, it's a beckoning cat from back home. You must have brought this from Japan. Well, you brought that huge Daruma doll with you. I don't think you have any room to talk. I'm ill at ease in a foreign country. I just wanted to have a good luck charm. Right. Looks like you brought this beckoning cat in hopes of good fortune. Too bad the only thing that's been beckoned is this awful incident. Naruhodo, one shouldn't dwell on bad fortune. I didn't even say anything. The way my eyes talk for me just keeps getting me into trouble. A ridiculous amount of books are piled up in a veritable mountain of stories. They're all on English literature, all considerably old and dusty. There are more than enough books here to last a lifetime, don't you think? No doubt. Like a dream come true. More like a nightmare, in my opinion. I'm sure whichever poor book is at the bottom will never see the light of day again. Think of it as a once-in-a-lifetime experience, just like a perfect tea ceremony. This is the last place I imagined tea ceremonies would come up. This is a window, I guess? One would think so. For some reason, this one seems to have been completely covered by bricks. Yeah, this might as well just be more wall. Why in the world would someone do this? Ask me. I haven't the foggiest idea. Perhaps Soseki had an episode one day and chose to build the wall right then and there. Yikes. It's scary because it sounds like something he would actually do. Either way, the lack of a window has caused the air in here to get all thick and heavy. Being in this room makes one's mood rather heavy as well. Oh, there's a right side, which we will see Holmes, I'm sure. The game loves doing that. Oh, look, Naruhodo. That's... When did he get here? He seems to be busy with his nose deep in a very old-looking book. In any case, let's call him over. Hey, Mr. Holmes! Why, hello! If it isn't you two! As I recall, you two were... Indeed, we were together aboard the SS Eau Claire. Ah, yes, the SS Eau Claire. As I recall, that was... Thank you so much for helping us find the truth behind Asogi's murder. Of course, that's it.
It was none other than Master Sogi. One with the snake, right? Huh? Well, you're not quite there, but you aren't completely wrong either. Something like that. It is a great honor that you remembered us. Mr. Holmes, we are... Ah, wait. I have confidence in my memory. I'm sure I can remember your names with perfect clarity. You are Miss Naruhodo and Master Susato. You've got to turn around. Touche. On the day that we arrived in London, I was hoping I could invite you two to my home. It seems those dastards from the yards caught me at the station and rushed me to the crime scene. But it was so ridiculously simple, I only needed about 30 minutes to crack the case. They arrested Soseki after only 30 minutes? Anywho, thanks to that, my memories on the other cases have gone a little foggy. Just a little? For every addition of knowledge, you forget something that you knew before. It is of the highest importance, therefore, not to have useless facts elbowing out the useful ones. Oh, by the way, those very words are written in Study in Scarlet. Those are my own words. Please don't quote yourself again. I don't remember it clearly myself. She had it written for me so nicely. It must be Iris. Mr. Holmes, there's something I would like to ask you about that simple case. Oh? What is it? You're looking pretty fierce. Ah, go ahead. It seems much more fun to talk about murders. It's a gloomy room. Talk about murders. Wait, it's not a murder. She's not dead. This is the exchange student Soseki Natsume's room. Mr. Holmes, you're the one who arrested him, right? He was arrested under the pretense that he stabbed the woman on Briar Road. Soseki. Yes, I believe that was his name. Soseki says that he didn't do it. That you arrested him despite that. I don't think that's fair at all. Whatever do you mean? I'm afraid I don't understand, Miss Susato. Mr. Holmes is really going to play dumb while he looks Susato straight in the eye? No, I'm not playing dumb at all. I think the two of you have come to some sort of misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I have no recollection of ever calling that poor postured Japanese man the culprit. What are you implying? Watch another request I received from Scotland Yard, word for word. A man escaped from the crime scene. We want you to find both his identity and location. The man escaped. There were a few books that had been left at the scene. Judging from the book plate, it was clear that the book was purchased from a local bookshop. After I spoke with the owner, it wasn't long before I arrived at this room. That's all. I believe the receipt for that book is somewhere around there. And are you saying that the Soseki isn't the culprit? Who's to say? I certainly wouldn't know. I came back because it had started to pique my curiosity, but... There are just so many intriguing books here. I very suddenly found myself reading them. Of course, by no means was I doing this just because I was bored. Really. Oh, that reminds me. Have you already met with the landlord of this flat? Yes, Mr. Garydeb, a retired soldier. It was the first time I met someone from the Great British Empire's military. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Empire. What's so funny? Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I'm sure you're already aware, but many of London's households have maids in service. Yes, I read all about that in the Great British Empire Great Guidebook. Put another way, whether or not a household has a maid in service determines their rank in society. Their rank? Simply put, as long as you have at least one maid, you're middle class. If not, you'd be below that. Upper class households have enough servants to be considered a huge family on their own. I see. That is awe-inspiring in its own right. Essentially, for those caught on the border between middle and lower class, it's quite the important matter. I had no idea. That's exactly what draws my attention to that man. The retired soldier, John Garydeb. What? That lovable little soldier is hiding something. As for whether or not it's related to the case at hand, that is yet to be seen. What does he mean? I must say though, this really is quite the gloomy room. If I was stuck in this room for long enough, I would be sure to stab someone sooner or later. Soseki didn't stab anyone. Well, like I said, sooner or later. That's not what I meant. Speaking of how gloomy it is in here, I can't help but wonder why there aren't any windows in this room. Oh? Well, I guess it wouldn't be right to say that there aren't any at all, but they're all completely covered up with bricks. Ah, yes. The answer to that is simple. It's because of window tax. Let's see, I don't think. Window tax? What in the world? You can't be serious. They tax you just for having windows installed? That's exactly the case. What? Long ago, Britain taxed its citizens based on how many windows their home had. The poor and the penniless rushed to paint over the windows in the houses that they inherited. On the other hand, the rich would put windows all over their premises. Apparently, they're trying to gain favor by paying exorbitant sums to those in power. That's downright horrible. Nobody should have to live in a room with no light. Well, because of that, an epidemic began spreading through the country. The window tax was abolished about 4 years ago, but even now, there remain traces of the effects it had. This flat is one of many examples. I wonder if Soseki is not receiving enough exchange student allowance. Probably not. From what I've investigated thus far, he's renting this room at a rock-bottom rate. That's probably because of just how terrible this room is. Supposedly, Soseki moved into this room last week. Yes, it appears so. However, there's reason to believe that this room isn't cheap merely because of how run down it is. Huh? Ah, pay me no mind. I doubt it has anything to do with the case anyway. I can't help but be curious. Well, that's all I can say on this matter. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Oh, that's right. Master Naruhodo. As I recall, you said you wanted to become a lawyer, right? You remember that? If so, are you going to defend him? The tenant of this flat. Master Soseki, right? I don't know. What do you mean? The truth is, I already stood as an attorney in this country just yesterday. Oh? It's amazing. It looks like your dream didn't take long to become a reality. But I'm so lost. I've lost sight of what it means to believe in my client. Belief, huh? Hey, Mr. Holmes? There's no way that Soseki is the culprit, right? How would you expect me to know that? Huh? But didn't you come to this flat to investigate the stabbing? Well, yes. That was my intention at first. There was this endless pile of intriguing books, so I lost myself in the joys of reading. I see. Anyway, there are two truths I have come to understand. That Japanese man fled from the scene of the crime 2 days ago. Then, there's a man who claims that he witnessed Soseki committing the crime. That's all. Oh, that's right. There's one more thing.
Unknown? What might that be? Not sure if this is connected to the incident, but I am certain that it's true. A retired soldier, a landlord gentleman, is hiding something. You mean Mr. Garida? I mentioned this before too. That's just about everything that has piqued my interest thus far. Naruhodo, still haven't found any decisive leads in our investigation so far. Yeah, you're right. Might just be worthwhile to look into Mr. Garydale's secret. Still, I can't guarantee that it's related to this case in any way. Either way, I wish you the best of luck, Master Naruhodo. He just ran off to the back end of the flat. Damn. Should have presented my... Actually, I don't think I could have. I wanted to present my my badge. My quote-unquote badge. Can't scroll to the right anymore. Very interesting. Move back. We haven't been here for a while, haven't we? So who's feeding the cat if we assume it's Soseki's cat and Soseki's in jail? Oh, you two again? I can't seem to remember his name. But is the good detective still hard at work? Sherlock Holmes? Ah, that was the one. Not that it concerns me. Yeah, he seems to be pretty content with the progress of his investigation. That's just wonderful. Joan, another cup of tea, please. So, you both... Joan, watch what you're doing. Master, it is almost time for your meal. Yes, so it is. Friends, I kindly request that you be on your way. Oh, alright. You have been a great help. Thank you. Not at all. It was a pleasure to have a chat with you from a faraway land. Well then, good luck to you. If you'll excuse me. According to Holmes, Mr. Garydale is hiding something from us. As of now, we have no leads. I wonder if we can dig something up somehow. Something just appeared on the right side of the screen. Nope, nope, nope. Alright, we'll talk to Holmes. What in the world is he doing there? Excuse me, Mr. Holmes. Hey there, my friends. We meet again. When in blazes did you... I didn't even see you. It's just as you surmised. It was I, Sherlock Holmes, all along. What on earth are you doing over there? I have a habit of always taking in a sunset by the window, right around twilight. However, there doesn't seem to be a single window in that delightful little room. So as you can see, I took it upon myself to quietly borrow this little window instead. Guess this is one of his special needs. Oh, one more thing, Master Naruhodo. Sir, I do believe that now is the time I will need your assistance. I need your assistance in making sense of my own astounding great detective intellect. Does that mean he had planned this reunion at the Garydale residence? Then Mr. Holmes. This unassuming little room guards a secret. No matter how trivial, not a single detail can escape my eyes. Master Naruhodo, you are ready, I presume? Yes, I am. Let's finish this before dinner time, shall we? Time for a great detective's great deduction. Mr. Garydale, you may have been an exceptional soldier. However, I can't say in good conscience that you're well suited to being a landlord. What?
That's right. I have already seen the truth. At this point, I have come to two concrete conclusions, Mr. Gary Deb. What conclusions? Let's start with the first conclusion. You are secretly harboring a vicious wild animal. Yeah. Is the cat his? Cat Mr. Gary Deb's? As for the second conclusion, as a result of that wild animal's vicious fury, you have lost something precious to you. Naruhodo, look! Mr. Gary Deb is turning pale. There's no doubt about it. Mr. Holmes' conclusions are right on the mark again. How did you know that? One might wonder. The reasoning really is quite simple. After all, I am the king of beasts when it comes to the thick, dense jungle, known as logic. Taming the wild tyrants born of Mother Nature is no simple task. Now, everyone, shall we begin? Come, one and all, to Sherlock Holmes' theater of logic and reason. I actually really like this game mechanic. Now, boys and girls, you should need a great detective's guidance to see this one. Because it's abundantly clear that a most fearsome beast has run amok in this very room. Now, what, might you ask, is the identity of this mysterious beast? It would seem that our good veteran's eyes tell us more than one would expect. The answer lies within your very line of sight. The identity of the beast that laid waste to this den is revealed by this lion statue. Despite your status as a soldier, you're horribly destitute, and you appear rather frail at that. Because of this, you cling to a certain wistful admiration of the great king of beasts, the lion. What are you even talking about? You became consumed by your own burning admiration of the beast. So consumed that you secretly arranged to have a lion sent from India for you to domesticate. What? Taming the king of the jungle proved to be no simple feat. As a result, this room was left ravaged by the tyrant's own vicious claw marks. Those plates are not very good as plates anymore. Also, that teapot is also not very good as a teapot anymore. What in the world? Yet, at first glance, no such beast can be found in this room. Where could that monster have disappeared to? The answer lies, if I may, madame. What? Please pardon my rudeness, but just one look at you tells me all I need to know. You mean, at me? A lowly maid? Why, even your pocket alone reveals the whereabouts of our disappearing beast. It's a flyer for the circus peeking out of your pocket, isn't it? Ah. You scrambled for some method through which to dispose of the fierce lion. Valenvoire Circus. A traveling troupe of musicians pitched their tent in a nearby park. Even I've seen them. And you two are going to sell off that dangerous lion to the troupe. Preposterous. There you have it. I believe this clears everything up. Fearsome beast that destroyed this room is actually a lion. And when I went to see the circus, the lion was joyfully jumping through a ring of fire. So, Mr. Gary Deb, it would appear that you held some deep affection for such a fierce beast. Indeed, that seemingly nonchalant gesture betrays your true feelings. The intense pain you bear is clearly revealed by that hand on your cheek. It's all because you had to tearfully depart with that beast you so dearly loved. The pain of losing one so important to you. I know that pain all too well. No, you've got it all wrong. It just... Where, I ask? Where does your pain come from? Yet again, truth is brought to light by your line of sight. Of course, the cause of all your suffering is this bundle of bills. All those envelopes piled up over there appear to be bills. Oh. Here, we have bills for a huge wagon's worth of meat, potatoes, wheat, and black tea. The cost of keeping a lion dealt a devastating blow to your household finances. Thus, there was little you could do but to part with them. Isn't that right? Yeah. But then, in a final act of reckless violence, the beast attacked once more. Attacked? And the traces of its great rampage are clear. See the carpet below us, torn to shreds. It looks to be a high-quality carpet, woven from wool. Why did something so horrible have to befall such a lovely carpet? Ugh. Oh, madame. It seems like your turn to tell me something now. It's your turn to tell me something now. The answer to my question is in your eyes. What was it that left the carpet in this sorry state? The evidence lies in this cake stand. There's nothing in the world more dangerous than a hungry lion. I believe a certain great queen once said, "If there is no bread, let them eat cake." What? What? It's safe to say that food is the catalyst for all great tragedies. What do you mean? Having grown sick of the taste of cake, Beast set sights on his new prey. And what prey fell victim to the tyrant's fury? I think it goes without saying. There's room for only one conclusion. Famished and in a daze, the poor Jungle King devoured the carpet. I see. I am unfamiliar with Marie Antoinette's, anything. The bite marks in the carpet are a perfect match to those of a lion I once spotted in India. The rampage. Bite marks. And there you have it. The great deductions of Sherlock Holmes have been revealed. Oh, I'm glad someone is more cultured than I am to understand that reference. Let's see. Hey! Don't see you spilling. Spilling, I say. Marie Antoinette was a French queen that loves cake and said that if peasants have no bread to eat, then feed them cake. Well, thank you for the information. Oh, hear me, master. I hadn't even noticed. Well, spilling your tea in the face of my impeccable logic is to be expected. I have heard of tales of a housewife who spills tears as well as tea. Why? Excuse me, Mr. Holmes? Could we have another quick talk? But of course, Master Naruto. What's on your mind this time? Well, it's about your logic. Did you really think there was a lion running around in this cramped little room? Indeed. It seemed the only plausible explanation that I could think of. What a frightful notion. Certainly not a theory that mere common sense could come up with. Maybe you should try using a little more common sense in your deduction. How some sort of lion really did rampage in this room? I can't imagine how Mr. Garydam and his maid both made it out safe and sound. Oh, please. Is that all that's bothering you? I'd wager they countered his onslaught with a great big cannon to the face. Then, How could they have sold it off to the circus? And let's put the issue of the meat and potatoes aside for now. This is the first I've heard of any lion drinking black tea. You see, Miss Susato, here are my thoughts on the matter. No matter who or what you may be, when you come to visit the Great British Empire, the right to enjoy afternoon tea is a privilege shared equally by all. That's a very admirable position, I suppose. Moving on. Now it's our turn, Naruhodo. Right. I figured as much. Let's give Mr. Holmes' reasoning a little push in the right direction. At last. This is the moment I've been waiting for, Master Naruhodo. I still have no idea how this deduction is supposed to relate to the case. But the pursuit of truth can't possibly be a vain effort. At least, I hope not. Now, everyone. Shall we begin once again? Come, one and all, to Sherlock Holmes' theater of logic and reason. Don't need great detectives guys to see this. Bear that a beast ran around the room. What is the beast? Alright. The answer lies within his line of sight. It's a... I find it hard to believe that he'd bring a lion in here. Well, one look at Mr. Gary Depp's reaction should tell you that it's indeed true that some manner of beast destroyed this room. Wow, that's crazy. But at any rate, it can be certain that it was not a lion smuggled over from India. In that case, what could have this beast have been? Focus on Mr. Gary Depp's line of sight. That must be where the truth lies. Cat photo? Bullet. Great beast. This is an artillery shell. Why are there so many dangerous things in this room? Maybe it's some kind of memento from his soldier days. Oh, speaking of which, Mr. Gary Depp said something about that. Some years ago, he took a shot to the knee in battle. Wonder if this is Susato. No. If his knee was shot with this thing, it would have totally shattered on impact. First, Mr. Holmes' Persian slipper. Now this? I guess the British don't like to put normal things on their mantelpiece. I didn't even examine them. Cancel. I forgot to. Here. Photo. Appears to have been taken on his wedding day. He looks incredibly happy here. Not he's happy, but can't see his wife's face. Fortunately, the glass is cracked beyond all repair now. I wonder what happened. Maybe I shouldn't think too hard about it. Oh, see what happens. You've set up a picture frame right behind this lion statue as they're trying to hide it. I haven't got a good look, so I'm not sure yet. Maybe, just maybe, the truth lies here. It's not. It's my greatest trick. Rather than leave blurting out vague ideas without even checking the evidence. Name. What in the world was that supposed to mean, now, Master Naruhodo? I decided to just go with the flow and let the logic speak for itself. Sorry, but I'm not confident in your ability. Maybe you should go back to rotting in the brig.
couldn't have just said go back home to Japan, could you? No doubt that someone or something ran amok in this room. Whatever that was should be Mr. Garydale's line of sight. It's crucial that I investigate anything and everything that I possibly can. Focus on Mr. Garydale's line of sight. That must be where the truth lies. I feel like something I'm like over here. I really don't think it's the ammunition. But I can't find anything else to actually interact with. Well, let's examine the lion statue. I haven't actually done that, right? This is the lion statue in question. Makes me wonder, maybe you live with a lion, find them surprisingly adorable. I'm not so sure about that. To me, that sounds the same as if a mouse called a cat adorable. Maybe I was getting a bit ahead of myself. Anyway, it has to be some sort of other beast around. Let's examine as much as we can. Oh, try it. You like this debate. Oh well. Oh. You let me such a mess in this room with this nonchalant little artillery shell. I'm glad they have like flavor text for each thing, at least. How convenient. To accomplish, the cannon is clearly feigning ignorance. War does not but destroy, or create nothing. We absolutely must learn from this. Kind of terribly vague reasoning what that's supposed to be. Oh, well, this is the theater of logic and reason after all, right? My theater of logic. If you wish to play a farce, do it in your own theater. Oh. Sorry, I guess. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of worth getting the wrong answers just to see like what you get to see. What if we present the lion statue? No, I can't find the count up and down. Only left and right. Power of touch controls. This is like getting in some crack. It'd be very annoying because pixel hunting is bad. Like, the game definitely is foreshadowing that it's the cat. I want to say. Maybe. Because the lion's like a cat. I could present the lion statue. See what happens. No. Let's think about this logically. Lions and beasts are pretty much synonymous. And beasts are known to rampage. Using the transitive property, we get a rampaging lion. Oh, easy, easy. No hints, no backseating. No spoilers. Hey, stop that. Isn't that exactly the same point I just made? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I understand completely.
You just couldn't help but emulate me. You want to play a great detective so badly that you're blind to the truth that it'll never happen. Well, that was a complete failure. I'll reconsider my options. Holmes can never be right. Alright. I guess I did not examine it. A huge crack on this glass makes it impossible to see your face. But even with the crack in her way, you can't hide her rotund figure. Rather than rotund, I'd say her form is more robust. No kidding. It looks like he's exerting a ton of energy to hold her up. It would probably be in his best interest to not make her angry. That's Paul. Look, his wife is wearing such a large wedding ring. Yeah, and it's very unique at that. It looks like the ring is decorated with sunflower motif. The identity of the beast that laid waste to this den is revealed by this, Mrs. Garridev. Yeah, Holmes himself knows it's wrong, and it's like very clear because he clearly asked for us to help him, but he knows his deduction is wrong. Because he dragged us in here, and he's like, "Oh, now you can help me." And it's like, well, okay. But he knows like it's wrong. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or what. Right you are, Master Naruhodo. There's not a single other suspect, eh? The person depicted in this photograph is your wife, is it not? Sadly, with the photograph in this state, we are unable to see her face. But what we can see is the considerable amount of force being exerted by those arms. Barely. In this case, calling her a beast out of respect is perfectly acceptable. Sounds rude. That's rude as heck, dude. I'm not so sure about that. Regardless, the one that truly went on a rampage in this room was Mr. Garridev's very own wife. Ugh. This room is rampaged by the tyrant's very own vicious claw marks. What in the world? Yet, and at first glance, no such beast can be found in this room. Where could that monster have disappeared to? The answer lies, if I may, madame. What? Please pardon my rudeness, but one look at you tells me all I need to know. You mean, at me? A lowly maid? Why? What nerve you have, putting a frail lady on the spot and calling her a beast. Well, I'd say the jury's still out on how frail she is. Indeed, his wife does seem to be missing from this room. The clue that reveals her location must be in somewhere on the maid's person. Where could Mr. Garridev's wife be? Where could it be? Where is the ring? Okay, I can't go up and down. Oh god, it's so weird. It's so weird. Found it. I'm tempted to present the bad evidence now, just to see what it is. But I don't want to game over. Did I do it? You want to see the flavor text? Alright, we'll see the flavor text. We got a pocket, teapot, and maid. I don't have enough life for this. But we'll just go pocket. Notice the circus flyer sticking out of your pocket.
That is the decisive evidence that links you to the beast. It's irrefutable proof, at least as far as I can see. Hey, stop that. Isn't that exactly the same point I just made? Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. Alright. Now we know what really went on a rampage in this. It was Mr. Garydev's wife. In that case, when in the world could his wife have gone off to? I have a feeling that the answer is closer than we think. All that's left is to find the evidence that proves it. Yeah, maybe in the next part it'll even see. I assume like nothing happens when you game over. But I guess I should save for safety, which is too late now. Actually, I skipped that line, so hold up. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not about to say this with any certainty. Obviously, I don't think it's true. Honestly, I don't know why it even came to mind. What if this pleasantly plump maid is actually the goddess of destruction? What in the world was that supposed to mean? Production failed. Oh no. Start from you. Almost hit percent. Power of 3D. You have shadows. Alright. We'll do the teapot. I probably won't do this for the other ones because more time consuming. But we'll do the teapot because it's been requested. A long time ago, I read about this in a book. In Arabia, these kind of vessels are said to contain genies. Excuse me? Excuse me? Terrifying spirits, capable of unleashing untold destruction. I should examine it, I guess. The maid is wearing an enormous ring. It's decorated with a sunflower pattern. Plus, it's wearing it on her ring finger. It must be a wedding ring. I'm sure of it. Fingers like that, I doubt she'd be able to take it off if she tried. You really shouldn't say things like that. That's pretty rude. Speaking of which, do you remember that photograph we saw? Wasn't there a very similar ring with the same sunflower motif? Oh, there was, what? Huh. Good eye, Susato. Huge ring with a sunflower pattern, huh? No way this is a coincidence.
Even your wedding ring alone reveals the whereabouts of our disappearing beast. Ah. Precisely. That beauteous ring shining upon your finger. That's it. It's a perfect match with the one on Mrs. Garydev's finger in this photograph. In other words, Miss Maid, you are no mere maid. Indeed. You are none other than Mr. Garydev's wife. Ah! Ah! Well, I'll be. I should expect no less from the great detective. You guessed right. This is my wife, Joan. You see how she looks now? Back in the day, she was radiant, real down. From what I can see, your life is anything but radiant. As you, a retired veteran, have been reduced to renting out vacant rooms, yes? As such, you lack the income to hire a maid. Am I mistaken? But as former captain of the 3rd Platoon, I still have my pride. Yet now, I can't even hire a single maid. Isn't it just pitiful? Here in London, whether or not your house has a maid at its disposal, it's effectively the borderline between lower and middle classes. If you ask me, I feel like it's pointless to worry over things like that. Then the beast, I mean your wife, is pretending to be a maid? That about sums it up. What do you have to say, Mr. Garydev? Of course. It's only when visitors come calling. Please, keep this a secret. No. Not just secret. Confidential. So rude. The beast is Mrs. Garydev. That's so rude. So, Mr. Garydev, it would appear that you held some deep affection for such a fierce beast. Indeed, that seemingly nonchalant gesture betrays your true feelings. The intense pain you bear is clearly revealed by that hand on your cheek. Wow. Little Mr. Holmes is still treating Mrs. Garydev like a beast. Speaking as a lady myself, it makes me feel almost as bad as she does. Anyway, Mr. Garydev's wife is standing right in front of us. That means he didn't lose any beloved beast. Oh, you're right. If we take that into consideration, then perhaps there may be some other meaning behind the way he's covering his cheek. In Mr. Holmes' own words, Mr. Garydev felt some kind of pain. I should think about what Mr. Garydev's expression really means. Oh, lab mark. What else is there? Out of curiosity. Teapot. And on cheek. The intense pain you bear is clearly revealed by that slap mark. That is like extremely blatant. But he always faces his good side is shown to us. The aftermath of a slap from a considerably strong arm remains engraved on your cheek. Madame Joan Garydev, I can only assume that this was your doing. Oh dear. And you, John Garydev, you were hiding your pain from us. Ugh. Ow. How did you come to know so much? I am a master of deduction. Not a thing on earth can evade my sight.
That's why you never look directly at us. You were trying to keep your cheek hidden. Now, let's move on. We have more to discuss. For example, why in the world did her palm come to strike your face? Ask more directly, why would Madame Garideb slap her own husband? Yet again, the truth is brought to light by your line of sight. Of course, the cause of all your suffering is the bundle of bills. I remember, those bills were for lion's share food. But now we know that there was never a lion. Then I wonder who wolfed down all the lion feed. If I had to guess, it must have been Mr. Garideb's wife. Hey, don't call it feed, as if she's some kind of animal. Well, call it what you want. In the end, we know that Mr. Garideb had to take a slap to the face from his wife. And worse, she hit him so hard we can still clearly see the print. Wonder why she ended up slapping the gentleman, though. Yeah, I'd really like to find out why, too. Investigate that. Also, broken glass. Oh, this book has a bookmark set in it. It appears Mr. Garideb enjoys reading. Oh, hang on a second. This doesn't look like a bookmark. Ah, you're right. It looks like a woman's writing is scrawled here in ink. Oh, James, how I long for you. Love, Mary. Look next to the signature. This looks to be... Ah, it's a kiss mark. It's been kissed by a woman with lipstick. My goodness, how passionate. I find it ever so romantic. Suddenly, Susato is enraptured by a random kiss mark. I do beg your pardon. Anyway, this bookmark looks to be a love letter after all. Love letter. Of course, the cause of all your suffering is this love letter. Oh, James, how I long for you. It seems to be quite the passionate letter. Perhaps the sender, Miss Mary, is the one who slapped you? Ugh. But I swear, I know no such woman. You don't know her? That love letter isn't even addressed to me. I mean, well, that thing was already shoved in the book before I ever laid eyes on it. It was already in the book? Most definitely, without a doubt! Sure it was. For heaven's sake, Joan, I've already explained this to you. I bought this book from the used bookshop. That thing was in there before I even saw it. So basically, the book's previous owner used the letter instead of a bookmark? Yes, that's what I've been trying to say! Sure they did. Okay, first of all, look at the damn name. It clearly says James. My name is John. You know that much! Sure it is. What? You think even my own name is to be doubted too? As we can all see, a woman's paranoia can make her snap like a beast, and it can make her slap like one too. But then, in a final act of reckless violence, the beast attacked once more. Attacked? And the traces of its great rampage are clear. See the carpet below us, torn to shreds. It looks to be a high-quality carpet, woven from wool. Why did something so horrible have to befall such a lovely carpet? Well, madame, it seems like your turn to tell me something. It's your turn to tell me something now. The answer to my question is in your eyes. What was it that left the carpet in a sorry state? The evidence lies in the cake stand. can't be. Did his wife eat the carpet? Come on. Of course not. That's just silly. However, I'm pretty sure that the disaster that befell this room is the result of his wife's rampage. So it would seem. Naruhodo is finally closing in on the end this time. The answer must lie at the end of Mrs. Scary Dev's line of sight. Got it. Let's get cracking on that examination. Okay. It's probably the candle. There's like a candle down here. Alright, burned. What else is there? Draco's flyer. This is a flyer from the circus. War Circus, set up in a nearby park. Wait, I recognize this flyer. This is the same one that was stuffed in Mrs. Gary Dev's pocket before. Miss Gary Dev looks to be a very devoted fan of this War Circus. Maybe she's such a big fan that they took their most fantastic spectacle. And here, in this flat, ravenous lion of Valinor staged its miraculous encore. I wonder. Look at the cake. Ooh, no matter how many times I look at it, like something right out of a dream. Is this what you dream of? Well, yeah. Look at it. It's a glimmering mountain of cake. It looks more like a tower than a mountain. One day, maybe even Japan will come see the value of great towers of rice cakes. Sure. Whatever you say. This looks to be a very old candelabra. The pedestal is so small that I'm worried about its stability. It looks like it would fall over if you so much as sneeze in its direction. Oh dear. That would be dangerous. Whoa. Susato, look closer at this candelabra. It looks like one of the candles is missing. Oh, you're right. Why is one of the candles missing from this candelabra? Right there. Oh, I guess I can examine the carpet. Someone must have really been chowing down on this. According to what Mr. Holmes said earlier, the marks perfectly match the bite of an Indian lion. Whoa, what the? Something wrong, Naruhodo? Now that I look at it, the edges of this carpet look burned. My, you're right. Then perhaps this carpet wasn't actually eaten after all. Maybe we should give up on that angle and rethink this deduction. What was it that left the carpet in its starry state? The evidence lies in the candelabra. Exactly. I dare say you found the exit of this labyrinth of pure logic. There are what appears to be bite marks from a ferocious beast here. Indeed, those would, in fact, be burn marks on the edge of the carpet. Burn marks. Yes, I see that there was quite the loveless quarrel in this little room. When Mrs. Gary Dev slapped her husband in the face with that stout arm of hers. The impact caused one of the candles to fall off the table. Then, fire from the candle spread to the carpet, and it burst into flames. Truly, of all the beasts in the world, fire is the most dangerous. That very beast went on a rampage inside this room. Thus, we're left with but one conclusion. This room was the scene of a house fire, sparked by a heated lover's quarrel. You really are as good as they say. If you remember, when was the quarrel? The quarrel was about 5 p.m. on the day of incident. I believe. I always enjoy passing the long winter nights by reading books next to the fire. I purchased an old novel from a used bookshop nearby, but between those pre-owned pages, therein laid quite the scandalous item. Thanks to that, Mr. Gaydev's wife began to interrogate him. It was no more than just an interrogation. She went outright berserk. Really, you weren't too far off the mark when you called her a beast. He's still doing that. Then, is it true that those marks on the carpet were caused by a candle? Indeed. The whole fiasco happened in the blink of an eye. The moment the flames flared up, the whole room was engulfed in thick smoke. I faced a simultaneous onslaught from both the flames and my wife. It sounds like you've been through hell, but I bet it would have been fun to watch. Seriously? Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the fire spread to the furniture. Right now, charred remains are hidden behind that screen. You mean this one over here? I think it's time we bring it out of hiding. Now, if you don't mind. No animation budget for that. All my favorite old books were lined up on that bookshelf, but now they've been swallowed by the flames, burnt to a crisp, just like that. Whoa. To add insult to injury, my very own wife threw those books at me in her fury. It sounds like a truly terrifying scene. She drove me back to the window, assaulted me with burning books. I ended up losing the adventure of the lion's mane, and I was just getting to the good part. The adventure of the lion's mane? You really do seem to have an affinity for lions, don't you? Not really. That's not the reason I picked it up, at any rate. In the end, he lost something important to him at the hands of a vicious beast. Oh, so that's what that... Another spot on deduction. That's no surprise coming from Mr. Sherlock Holmes. This truly must be one of the most cryptic mysteries all of Britain. Amidst the raging flames, my wife carried on with her rampage. It was absolute mayhem. By the way, do you remember about what time all this happened? It was early in the evening, right around 5 o'clock, 2 days ago. At the exact same time, a terrible crime was occurring just outside your home. I'd say the crime taking place here was just a bit more terrible. What? Even if all the Great British Empire was collapsing all around my home, I dare say I wouldn't even have noticed. Oh, I see. They're distracted, supposedly. They were at the window when it happened. The incident happened. Mr. Holmes? Ah, yes. What is it, Master Naruhodo? Now that we know everything about the Gyakuten couple, how exactly is this supposed to help us with Soseki's case? You're asking me? How should I know? What? Don't you remember what I said before? I said that this friendly, retired soldier was hiding something. But I said that I couldn't guarantee that he would be related to your case. Ugh. I should have known. There. No need to look so glum, Master Naruhodo. See, there are two types of things in the world. Things that are, and things that are not related to the case at hand. Nothing else exists. I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, you're running out of time. It's about time you make up your mind. Huh? Visiting hours at the Gao are about to end. I didn't realize it was this late. You intend to take up Soseki's defense. You need to obtain a written appeal from him and complete the proper procedures. Almost out of time. On that note,
we must ask that you take your leave. It is now our dinner time.
Yes, ma'am. Please excuse us.
Thank you so very much for allowing us to speak with you.
Soseki is waiting for us at the gao. I have to give him my answer. I also thought his wife was actually a cat, but the maid makes way more sense and less terrible than the cat. I was convinced it was the cat. I'm like, the hand was like a paw. It was not. Just goes to show, you gotta keep your mind open as to what really happened.
We've got no time to waste. Let's make for the gao.
Yeah, we really ought to. Let's see if we can hail a... Huh?
What's the matter, Naruhodo?
It looks like there's some sort of argument going on in front of Soseki's flat. Okay.
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who are you calling old? You're one of talking weird golly git.
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Boy, will you knock it off? I ain't no Horatio. Quit it with theatric.
I beg your pardon.
Who are you?
Just happened to notice some sort of dispute going on over here. This man here is Ryunosuke Naruhodo, attorney at law.
Huh? Did you say attorney?
If you like, you can hear out your case. I may be a foreigner, but I am still a lawyer.
Forget it. I ought to be heading back for the day. But don't think this is over, you.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Like hell I will.
Sir, are you hurt at all? I am fine. I must express my dearest gratitude, O beautiful maiden of the Far East.
What exactly was just going on?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
I'm not Horatio either.
Pardon me, but are you another tenant of Mr. Garydev's? Yes, indubitably, O gracious damsel of the Orient.
It reminds me, there were two tenants in the Garydev's home, weren't there? That must mean that this guy is the other tenant.
Excuse me, might you know the other tenant who lives on the second floor of this house? Ah, his name was Natsume, formidable Japanese polemicist, whom I engaged in a heated debate.
Debate?
Macbeth or Hamlet, who is stronger? I must say, his argument caught me off guard.
Ugh.
I don't entirely understand their relationship, but they do seem to be acquainted. In any case, I have no more energy to detain you here any longer. I bid you farewell. I understand even less than I did before, but he seems to have run back to his room. I don't get the impression that he knew anything about Soseki's case. Between Soseki and this guy, this flat has some serious issues. As I was saying before, I'll go hail a coach. Okay, I'm sure Soseki is waiting with his head held high in anticipation of our return. We've got to get to the Gaol before visiting hours are over.
I forgot about I forgot about him entirely. His demeanor. Anyway. Oh, why it's substitute law student Naruhodo. You've come back for me. I, Soseki, am overcome with emotion.
We sincerely apologize for being so late with our return.
No, please, all is well. I beg you, worry not, relax. Once again, I may know the joy of fellowship with my countrymen in a strange land.
Praise the motherland! No need to get so worked up, Soseki. Indeed. That which puts one's mind at most ease is the warmth of one's own homeland. However, on the other hand, there's true meaning to be found in friendships that cross geographical boundaries. Well, at least, that's what I believe. Ah, it's you! Damnable, cursed spy! The Sherlock Holmes! Mr. Holmes, what are you doing here? If it's what I'm doing here that you're asking, really, I'm just stopping by for a spell. What do you mean, Mr. Holmes? While I was in that gloomy little room, I read a certain book that caught my eye. While I was at it, I uncovered that shady couple's secret. And so, on my way home, I found myself wondering how you were faring. Gloomy room. Even the cell, with its one tiny window, is preferable to that hovel. However, I must admit that your taste in books is impeccable. Thanks to you, I had a fun day. Why you? These Sherlock Holmes. Oh, what's the use? Just a bloody fool. My very act of so brazenly coming to the Great British Empire was a mistake to begin with. I've been possessed by the ghost of that cursed flat. Tomorrow's trial, too, will be cursed. Oh, woe is my cursed existence. What's on your mind, Naruhodo? I was just thinking, Soseki. I think you said the same thing before. You said your flat was cursed, right? Perhaps Mr. Mustache's words ring truer than we once thought. Huh? It may be indeed appropriate to say that they're all cursed, including tomorrow's trial, and the flat. What is he on about? Earlier, you said that tomorrow's trial would be cursed. What exactly do you mean by that? What? Why did you take that so seriously? I really didn't mean anything by it. I was caught up in the moment. Oh, okay. You don't have to scare me like that. Don't tell me. They're a real curse? It must be because of that prosecutor, right? The one known as the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper? Why do they call him that? Please give me a concise explanation in haiku form. It has to be 17 syllables. Sinner or hero, no accused can escape death in the Reaper's court. Very nice. Oh, it's perfect. 3 lines, yet only 17 syllables. Yesterday, Naruhodo managed to win a not guilty verdict against him. However, after the trial ended, the defendant lost his life. Mr. Magundal. What? Quite sharp of you to pick up on that. Lord Chief Justice Vortex told us. Mr. Holmes, this is just a guess, but does Beric von Zieks personally kill people that he couldn't prove guilty? That would be dreadful. You are one funny guy. Huh? But really, that man is no murderer. He's just a prosecutor. I see. Of course, it would be improper of him to kill. Although, the truth of the matter might be even more terrible than that. What could possibly be worse? Beric von Zieks is a very capable prosecutor, but when it comes to London's courts, no matter how capable you might be, victory can never be assured. Oh, is that true? Looks like he sure looks happy. Remember, the judicial system in the British In Britain, involves both a judge and a jury. The judge delivers his verdict based on the law, while the jurors represent public opinion. The defendant is put on trial under those two perspectives. It's a great idea on paper, but public opinion can be easily swayed. Easily swayed. As for villains and less scrupulous attorneys are liable to strike. Bribery, forgery of evidence and testimony, they'll do whatever it takes to win. And if they can successfully make an impression on the jurors, no matter what decisive evidence the prosecution comes up with, they've already lost. What of the truth? Won't they jump to an incorrect verdict? Unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. I can't believe it. However, those that are prosecuted by Van Zieks do not escape their fate. What? Even if they're declared not guilty, their joy won't last long. They end up mysteriously disappearing within a few months, every single time. Disappear? How? Well, it's different every time. One man was trampled by a carriage, another drowned in the Thames, and another man had a mysterious fever, and yet another was murdered by highwaymen. My goodness. This is the reality of London, Master Naruhodo. Truly, is there no hope? By cursed flat, you must be referring to Mr. Garydev's home, right? Can you explain what's so cursed about it? It's been about a year since I came to live there. It took me only a single week to start losing my mind. That didn't take very long, huh? Everywhere I look, foreigners, no matter how I hide, they all look down at me and laugh. As loneliness and paranoia overtook me, I grew too scared to ever leave my home. It felt as if someone was always watching me, every waking hour, watching and laughing. Even when I cooped myself up in my room, that fear still would not leave me. It must have been very lonely to be so far away from Japan. Again and again, I'd move from place to place. It was last week that I moved to my current flat. Why did you choose that room though? It didn't seem like a very convenient place to live. It's all because the rent was cheap. I wasn't slack-jawed all when I saw the price. I found myself asking the owner why he set the price so low. He then responded with a terrifying grin. You see, that room is cursed. Oh, excuse me, that was just a slip of the tongue. At that point, he clammed up. Nerve of that man. If you're going to say something, at least finish your sentences. Otherwise, shut up. Good rule to live by, I guess. And it turned out what he said was true. So you mean the room really was cursed? Ever since I moved into that windowless room. Every day, I have nightmares of being strangled, waking up just as I'm on the verge of death. Now, they label me as a criminal and arrest me. When I'm granted a trial, fighting chance at freedom, no attorney will stand by me. I'm forsaken. Oh, if only I had a single ally in the world. If only one person would truly believe me. Leave. Excuse me, Mr. Holmes? Oh, me? What is it, Master Naruhodo? Do you remember the incident on the SS Alclair? Alclair. Oh yes, that one with the snake, right? Back then, you listened to me and believed what I said. You even helped me with the investigation. Did I now? Why did you believe me? Let's see. You mean to ask why I trusted a suspicious agent who was hiding at the scene of the crime? Yeah, sure. Come on now, this one's easy. You don't remember? You told me yourself that you weren't the culprit. But I could have been lying. Didn't you have at least the slightest doubt over whether or not I was the criminal? It appears that you're sorely mistaken over something here. I don't recall ever believing in the words you said to me. Huh? After all, the only thing I believe in is myself. What is that supposed to mean? I always decide for myself whether or not something is the truth. I'll believe in whatever it is I want to believe. It doesn't matter who's involved. But I could have betrayed you. That would simply mean that my judgment was off. That's all there is to it. It has nothing to do with someone potentially betraying me. I couldn't care less about that. Oh. When it comes to trusting someone or not trusting someone, all that matters is whether or not I can trust my own self. All there is to it. That's right. He speaks the truth. Substitute law student Naruhodo. Can I believe in myself? An attorney's worth measured by how much he can believe in his client, along with how much he can believe in himself. Sogi. Well, everyone, I'd say it's about time we headed home. Oh? Visiting hours are over. I'm sure a guard will be here for us soon. There's a nearby restaurant that serves up excellent trout dishes. What do y'all say? I suppose it has gotten late. Hey, Soseki? About tomorrow's trial, by any chance, would you be willing to let me defend you? Substitute law student Naruhodo. Yesterday, I stood in the British court for the first time. The defendant was ruled not guilty, but I found myself unsure of something crucial. What could be more crucial? What should I believe in? Justice? My client? Or the truth? Now, I finally understand. I choose to believe in myself. Naruhodo. And I believe in you too. You're no criminal, Soseki. It's my duty to prove that in court. Substitute law student. I'm ready to fight for you with everything I've got. I'll keep fighting until the very end. Tell me, will you let me defend you during tomorrow's trial? As I've said from the very beginning, I wish to entrust my fate to a fellow countryman who is willing to lend an ear to my words. Soseki. Master Naruhodo, your heart was already set from the very outset. It simply took a day like today to make you face your feelings head on. Yeah, I think you might be right. But I feel like it was quite a detour before I reached this point. Susato? Yes, sir? Tomorrow, will you stand by my side again? Will you assist me again? Of course, I absolutely will. As I said this morning, I'm your legal assistant, after all. Shock from yesterday's trial still weighs heavy on my heart. It's time to stop looking back. There are people who believe in me, like Asogi and Mr. Holmes. So there's only one thing I can do. I have to try to believe in myself, for the sake of the very things I believe in. And for the lonely, desperate, and friendless people in the world. Tomorrow, I'll fight as if my own life depends on it. To be continued. You know what that means? I'll have to wait until Monday. See the trial. We'll see what the first page looks like, or the first
Alright, it's just the lobby. There you go. We've learned very little actually. But we'll have to see how this case wraps up, I guess.